He's driving. I'm the eyes behind his head. What are they doing? I go, they're on phones too. We're watching each other. We're both on phones. They're calling for backup. We're calling for backup. So out of nowhere, my guy punches it. And when he punches it, like lights went off in the grill. You know how they have the lights in the grill? Those cop lights, but in the grill they go off. And they put the sun visors down and it said FBI, FBI. So my heart dropped, like. So I call the house. And I call the house and I tell my guy, bring all the weapons out. Bring all the bulletproof vests out. Hurry up, put everything on top of the trash cans, open the garage. We're gonna come smashing through. You come out and you bust on them while we get dressed. So he's like, what? And I'm like, hurry up, we're like 1 minute away. So I know him, he's in shock too. Like, he's with it. This the guy I'm talking about, he's proven, he's official, he's with the business. But still, it don't matter. You need more information and I'm giving them like a minute. So we're going, they're chasing us. We're getting close to the house. The garage door's closed. So we have no choice. Now we're going. Now it's Grand Theft Auto video game. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock. We're on the sidewalk crashing into cars. And all of a sudden, the back, I'm looking. This guy's driving, I'm looking back. And I get down, he's like, what happened? And I'm like, cause the guy came out the back window, the passenger back window. It was like the scope on it was a rifle, right? But the scope looked so big. I'm like, oh shit. So I told my guy, we're gonna have to split up because the tip on that bullet is gonna be this big. Mexico has weaponry, everything, you know that they get all the shit from all over the US and it goes over there. Like an AK is like a joke, and these days AK was popular, but now they don't got AKs. Why would you have an AK when you can have an AR-15?
He's a West Los Angeles rap artist known as Conejo.
One of his lyrics says,
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
This podcast has been years in the making. Conejo, rapper, in movies. You've seen him out there going viral, and it's a huge privilege. I'm deeply honored. He said to me a long time ago, if we ever touch down in London, we've got to do something. And here he is today. Thank you, brother. Now, I've watched a lot of his stuff, and there's hours and hours of content. It is such a gripping story. And all of the links as well are going to be below this video, so please check out his work. So there's a particular story I'm going to start with, and then you're going to see we're going to be on the edge of our seats from there. But first off, huge thank you for coming on and spending this time with us this evening, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Like, if I was going to hit a podcast over here, it had to be yours.
Oh, really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And listening to your stuff then, there was a story whereby your friend, you're at your house and your friend wants to steal a cable and then all hell breaks loose. Let's go into that one, and it's in LA, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't actually at my house. There's a park where I grew up hanging out at. It's called Hoover Park. It's right there in the West Adams district. That everybody knows that's the park where, like, my neighborhood, the gang that I ran with as a young kid, the Harpies, that was our park. That's where we kicked it at. So where it happened was we were working construction. But we would sell dope, crystal at the job site. All the construction workers would be on that, So and plus I had my own customers and everything. So me and my bro we both had ran out. So we called the Connect, which was one of my homies that sold, like, the ounces or whatever, right? So he's like, meet me at the park. So he swung by, picked up the money, and he said, I'll be right back. So we're like, that street right there is like right behind Hoover Park. This looks like a small street right there by USC College. And then the street is 25th Street. So that's our street, And I'm there it's sort of like these apartments. They are apartments. My bro's looking. He's like, man, I need a fucking cable for my room. so I could connect the cable in my house in my room. So he goes, I'm gonna take it. So he just goes, I'm right there by myself. I'm just right there by myself, just looking. But I got my, my construction boots on, dirty Levi's, dirty white shirt. I just got off of work, and I'm just like chilling. And they had like a bar. I remember had this like, there was just like a bar right there, just random. There's a bar. So I'm like, my hands are on top of it. And I look, and here comes a car coming down that street off of the main street, which is Adams. So it goes down this little street. It's coming. And I'm just like checking it out. Because, by this time, I'm like maybe like 25, 26 years old, I've been in the streets my whole life, so we know how to analyze vehicles coming your way and things. So as it's coming, I noticed that the passenger has the doors open, unless the car's just driving with the door open. It's not all the way open, but it's open, and open enough to where you can see it, and it's coming. And it's like coming real slow, and I see them looking inside the park. There's like a little soccer game going on, and they're like looking because my homies hang out in there. But I don't know this. I'm just seeing this car like slowing down, and then I look and I see they're bald. They're gang members, right? So, but they're looking that way. They stop almost in front of me. So, and they're looking that way, and I'm like, hey. And when they turned around, I told them, this heartbeats. I throw the H at them, and then little kid jumps out. It was a little kid. I don't know how old he was, but it was a short little kid, maybe 13, 14, and he lets off on me, the first one. Boom. And when he lets off, it skinned me right here. It burned my pant, and it dropped me. I kind of fell, but something told me, get up, go, 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 go. So that house where we were at, there was these two brothers that lived there. And they were friends with my homies. So my homies were take over this apartment. That was like a kind of a hangout. And they had a sister, and I remember her sister had just got this new little Honda Civic. It was right where I was above on that bar, and then there was like a step down, and the car was on the sidewalk right there, right? So the kid runs around the car trying to get me, stands back, and he's firing at me. He's hitting the wind. He hits the windshield. He starts like shooting the cars. All cars are getting hit. And he's like, we're zigzagging in between cars. He's trying to get me. This little kid's trying to get me, and I'm like running towards Adams, but I'm like, should I jump the fence and run in the middle of this soccer game? Because it's a lot of movement, but I'm like, hell nah, he'll catch me on the fence. On jumping over, he'll get me right there. And I just bobbed and weaved and zigzagged in between cars, and he shot all the cars, and he had left his car. So when the car backed up in reverse, and he just jumped in and took off. And I was like, oh, that was crazy. That was and this is like, I would say this is, I don't know. I don't remember that good, but it could have been 90 days from when I went on the run. So in these like last 90 days, I had like a couple of near-death experiences, where I almost got hit or just kept happening. Where
Can you take us through each one?
There's another situation that happened right there after that. So I remember me and my co-defendant in my case that I went on the run. So it was a Sunday, right? And then he's like, let's go patrol the hood. So I'm in my truck, on some 4x4, driving around, boom, driving around the hood, the perimeter, just like scoping everything out, looking at, gang writing and just things like that. And there's a street. It's the border between us and like the other gangs. Everything on that side of Washington, we don't get along with. Everything on this is our hood. We have a big hood. And then, so we're coming down Washington, and that's a cemetery. A lot of my homeboys are buried in the cemetery. It's called Rosedale Cemetery. It's on the corner of Washington and Normandy, for those that know LA, that know that area. And then we stop at the light, and I look at the gas station, and I seen some dudes that look kind of like they could have been like Mexican nationals, but they had soccer clothes on. They were like soccer players, but then some were like bald. And when you see another gang member, I don't care if he's disguised and whatever, like you're gonna recognize him, what he is or what if he's not, you know. So I'm like, hey, let's move in a little bit closer. We come up into the gas station, and they're on one side of the pumps. So I come on this side, and I ask them, like, I'm like, ¿Qué barrio? Like, where you from? Like, what neighborhood you from? But simultaneously, when I did that, another one reacted, and I seen him reach for something, like under the, maybe like behind the stereo. I don't know. He stuck his hand somewhere under the steering column. But it happened quick, like in seconds, because right when I asked him that, he told me where he was. He was my enemy. And then this other, like these two situations happening simultaneous. When he said it, before I could like say anything, you know, I did tell him, man, this, you know, this is my neighborhood. This harpies, you know, they just started letting off on me. Boom, boom, boom. He lets off. He's probably let off, I don't know, because, you know, when you get shot, one shot or two shots sounds like a whole clip to you because it's so loud in it. And so he starts hitting the truck. I punch it. I come out the gas station. I almost crashed all these cars. And then my co-defendant, the passenger seat, one hits right behind his head. So there's a hole right there. So since he went down and missed his head, if he would have been up, it would have hit him. And then boom, the glass is like blowing out. I got glass in my mouth. It's all in my eyes. I'm driving. And I'm, you know, well, it's like you get hit with like, I don't know, you get frantic. I don't know, like fear, adrenaline, survival mode kicks in. I just smash. We get so far. There's glass everywhere. We jump out. You know, you check your body because sometimes you don't feel it when you get hit. And I've never been shot directly, you know, but I've had a lot of my friends die next to me, around me, in front of me, on the side of me. So I had friends that didn't know they were shot until a few minutes later, and then they end up dying because those few minutes maybe could have saved them. So we checking ourselves, you know, we're good. Like, so things like that were happening to me. Like, if I felt like those last month or 2 or 3 before I went on the run, my life was just moving fast, real fast, and a lot of things were happening. And I used to work far. We were building parking structures, so it'll take 2 hours to get there, 3 hours to get back home, and then construction in the sun. I'm tired. Get home, eat, start selling dope. You know, it was to the point where like I was f***ing up. They were coming to my window in my house. I wasn't like meeting them no more. I was just so tired, I was just so tired that I'd just be like, hey, come to my window. Don't, you know, just try to be low key and tap light when you're there, or call me, and then, you know, I'll slide it out and you slide the money in or whatever. And so, you know, just like things like that. And for me, like, not like for me and for like a lot of the listeners that come from Los Angeles, this is an everyday thing. You know, this is not like, I'm not saying nothing that's like that they haven't been through, you know? Like you're gonna go through this over there all the time, you know, and when I did American Cholo podcast, and I did John Bernthal podcast, I had told them that in 91 they killed 17 of my homies. But this is the thing, like some of the comments were like, oh, you know how people are. They're negative. They love typing some bullshit, but the thing is that we weren't the only ones that lost 17. Everybody was losing homies, like a lot. And like my neighborhood, because the way they were giving it to us, we were giving it to everybody too. They ain't nobody was like we weren't like nobody's punching bag. You know what I'm saying? Like so whatever happened to us happened to them too. Whoever it is, they know. You know, whoever's watching this, because now I have a lot of friends that are from enemy gangs, you know? And you know, there's like mutual respect and love. I called some of them before I came over here and asked them some questions, you know, like, hey, about coming here. And you know, like when we sit there and they tell me stories, they're the same stories, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know that you guys had like equal amount of hatred for some of the people that we had, and the same things happen, you know. So it was just happening all over Los Angeles at that time, you know. So, but that's before. That's the early 90s. When I went on the run in 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. I don't know.
Could you explain what you were going on the run for?
So basically, what had happened, a situation had happened where a young man lost his life at a party. And it like landed on my lap, you know? And so, you know, some might say like, oh, that's guilt. He ran because he's, but you don't know until you're in that situation whether you did it or whether you didn't do it. It's too much sometimes, you know. So you need like space and time to like clear your mind to see what's your next move, you know. And that's what I did. And so they.
How old were you at that point?
I'm like 27, 25, 26. I don't know. People, whoever's out there, go do the math. I was born in 74. Do the calculations. So, you know, so this situation happens, and we decide to leave. You know, we're kind of like hiding around, but it was just to be a fugitive, to be running. It's not as easy. I mean, if I had more knowledge, it could have been easier, but I didn't have that knowledge. So my mindset was just small, you know, like, now we're going to rip you out of your comfort zone. What are you going to do? And then you start like scrambling. You don't know what to do. So my friend, my co-defendant, he was like, let's cross. You know, my family will have work for us over there, doing things.
Just to explain for people in the UK, crossing means going down to Mexico.
Yeah, crossing over the border into Mexico. So, and California is next to Mexico. So it's like, this is some like wild, wild west where like you cross the border and, you know, you go over there and, I don't know, you try to just stay alive or just survive or whatever, right? So we go over there. We end up going over there. And I remember I had like about $3,000 on me. That's it. Maybe 2,700, maybe 3,200. I don't know, something like that. My buddy had like 6 or 7 or 8 on him, and we're like, let's just go. So
money goes a long way down there, doesn't it?
Nah, but not really. It does, but when you're gonna be able to come back, because you could blow all your money and be like, I'll just go back, work, sell some dope, do whatever you do, and it's like but when you're going there and you know you never could come back. You know, like that Red Hot Chili Pepper song, The Other Side. That's my song. You know you can never come back. And it hits you different. So, especially like you know, you grew up in the I grew up in the hood and the neighborhoods and the streets, but you know, I never was rich or nothing like that. I never was like balling out of control out for drug sales. I was just surviving, you know, but you know, you're over here, you're buying brand new clothes. You want to look right on the weekend, so you know, your shoes are brand new all the time. Your white shirts are brand new. Your sweaters, Dodger jackets, Raider jackets, whatever it is, you know, you want to wear. And now you go to Mexico, so we get over there, and it's cool because Americans go there all the time, but they only go there for like at the most like a month. After a month, people start asking questions like, man, why the fuck is this dude here? And there's only 2 things. At this point, either you're deported or you're a fugitive. That's it. If you're there for like more than a month, it's like, you know, when you're younger, sometimes the parents send the kids over there, like when they're up in the streets, send them to Mexico, you know, disconnect them from the things that are like giving them a bad influence, you know. But man, Mexico's full of bad influences too, you know. There's vices just like anywhere else. And so we get over there, we spend the money. We have no money now.
What did you blow it on?
Just like whatever, you know, eating and, you know, and just whatever. You blow it on whatever Mexico has to offer, you're gonna blow it on that. And then so, but there wasn't no work, and I remember that see, like with us, my neighborhood, there was a connection to Juarez, and a lot of my homeboys that are older than me, they would get took into Juarez to work because we had people from our neighborhood that were involved with the people from Juarez. So when I left, they gave me a number for Juarez. So we have money, we're spending it, but I keep calling this number in Juarez, and at this time, 2002, I don't know. I just every time I think about Juarez is turned up. Juarez is like active, like they, But see, the thing is that I don't know about Mexico. I'm from LA, Yeah, I know about Mexico because I've been going to Mexico back and forth since I was a kid, but I don't know like what it's really like, and what I'm about to be involved in because I'm a fugitive. I don't know. I don't know what it's really like. So we go over there. We start standing out like a sore thumb, and then we start filling out a place because we're wearing big ass baggy pants, looking like a gang member. They don't like that over there. That don't go over there, We got tattoos. That's like a red flag for the cops. They'll with you. You're an easy because cops like robbing people, right? So that's an easy way to rob somebody. They're like, man, these dudes are criminals in the U.S. Let's just rob them real quick. let's make up some shit. Tell them they're gonna go to jail, so we could take everything they got. So things like that. We start finding out all these things, right? Keep calling Juarez. Juarez keeps telling me, hold up. There's going to be something for you guys. Just hold up. Be patient. It's crazy over here right now. We're like getting all the pieces, we're putting all you're moving pieces around. We're moving things around, but don't keep in touch. And it's crazy because it's like you're calling to go die. Basically, you're calling Juarez, the people in Juarez, my people that's running around in Juarez, but and the dude, we were calling another dude, but the dude that he worked for, he ended up dying. And the thing I heard, he was running out of prison. And the story how they told it to me was, I don't know this for a fact, but this is a story they told me. His own compadre got with his wife, and the minute he stepped out, the compadre had him snatched up and disappeared. I don't think they ever found his body. So we didn't go, but by that time other things had happened. So then me and my partner, we split up because together it's too much. Two bald guys walking around. Now I have hair. Right there I was still bald. I was wearing size 56 Levi's, white Cortezes, Dodgers jacket. It's just too much, And then so we started being around people, and they're like, oh no, you got to get rid of that. You can't look like that. You're drawing too much attention. We don't need that attention. Get rid of that. And then so we split up, whatever. We keep in touch. He came up on some money, he would send me some money. If I came up on some money, I would send him some money. And then and that's how we were doing it. And then one day he just called me and he's like, hey, pack up, there's work. So I was like, what? And he was just like, I don't even want to talk about it on the phone, but just be ready. There's work now. It's cool. We're going to be all right now. And our whole thing the whole time was like, just make enough money to get a lawyer to come back to the States and pay for a lawyer and beat our case. That's how much we loved the neighborhood or LA. We didn't, we were just out of our comfort zone. Even though we're Mexican, both of my parents are from Jalisco. And when my parents, they my whole family, they started coming here in the late 50s, 60s. I was born in the 70s. I was 80s baby, out there like a kid. And then after late 80s, 90s, the LA gang culture came into full effect. And you're just part of it because you grew up right there. It's not like, oh, I'm poor, let me join a gang. I didn't even know I was poor. I was poor because my mom told me I was poor, but I didn't know because everybody was poor. So it's not like, oh, we're poor. We ate cornflakes with water and shit like that. But I didn't see nothing like if it's, I didn't see it as poverty. It's like everybody does that when you run out of milk.
So they said work was available.
Work was available. We show up to this town, and again, I'm out of my comfort zone, and I'm seeing these dudes. All these dudes got money, and when you're around dudes, when you have nothing and you're around dudes that have money, connections, it makes you feel so small. You know you're about to be used for something you don't really want to do, And then, so they lay it out. This is what's going on. This is what we need to get done. So now they take us to this house, right? It's like a nice ass house, like some marble, and it even has electricity around the whole house. So ain't nobody jumping over and get electrocuted. And we're there, and it's just, we're waiting. So boom, the next day they come, we get radios, all this, like, do you know how to handle this? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I do. And then, okay, well, this is the mark, this is that. And then we're sitting on it, and I remember I'm like, let's do it. I just want to get paid and go back to Los Angeles. They're like, nah. We just got a call that we're gonna negotiate one for a little bit. So, but then the next day they're like, nah, negotiations didn't go through. We're going back. We're sitting on them, and I'm like, man, this is driving me crazy. I'm just like, he's there. Look at him, and this dude, you wouldn't even think he had money like that. The dude's sweeping the sidewalk. He has a little Mexican store, they're called abarrotes, where it's like a little liquor store type. Sweeping the sidewalk, throwing water. You would never think that he's the guy with money and involved in things, illegal things. Second day, no. Third day, it's just a question mark. I'm not even talking about it. What happened, if it did, if it didn't. And then, so from there, we end up in TJ now. So there was this lady over there, right? Okay, she had a husband. This is a crazy thing.
Just let me explain for people in the UK, Tijuana.
Okay, but before Tijuana, when we were in this town, right? There's this guy. He's gonna come up in the stories later. I remember one time he got in an argument with this older dude, right? And then he's like, he told me and my friend, like, "Hey, will you guys smoke this fool? You guys, will you fools?" And we were like, I was like, "Fuck it, I don't know him. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, He's like, we're gonna give you this much, and I'm like, let's do this. Like, I just wanted to get a lawyer and go home. It's like a stupid. It's like you're gonna do something you don't want to do just to go back and fight a murder case in where you come from, to be at home with your mom and your dad and your homies. I don't know. It's just ridiculous to the mindset. That. So there was this lady. So this dude, right? Later, this dude gets killed. He gets killed in Colima. He was coming from a rooster fight with his side chick, and motorcycles ran him off the road. They went down there, they smoked him, took the Rolex, and took the briefcase with his winnings because he won, right? So he's out of there. And this dude, when he died, I don't know. I was told this, that the DA, they came down to get a sample of him to make sure that was him, because this dude was like major. This dude he would bring the Colombians over there and all that. So that's the level he was on, But his wife was on that level too. She was like a low key Griselda Blanco, like not as big as Griselda Blanco, but she was a boss. And so when we were down there and all that stuff that happened, she was like, I got a bunch of houses in the border. You guys want one, get one. You guys got to take care of it. So we end up in TJ in this mini mansion, right? TJ's different. See, we were in Jalisco. We're deep in Mexico. That's like, Sinaloa, Nayarit, Jalisco. We're down there, and then Michoacan. So we're like sort of like the middle, or right before the middle of the country. So, but TJ is more like LA. It's fast paced. Even though Guadalajara is a way bigger city, way bigger population, it was moving slower. And so we like TJ because LA's right there. We could bring people, we could do things. Money could come back fast. It's here. We could do this, right? There's just like, in our eyes, like on some like entrepreneur, like, venture capitalist on the lower scheme of things. Like, okay, we could do this, because you could be on this side and have a house in LA, easy.
San Diego's right there as well, isn't it?
Yeah. But we had to go to LA because San Diego. How are you gonna set up that's San Diego? San Diego owns San Diego. That's all. That's when the problems come because everything's territorial. But I was still like not knowing how I knew that TJ belonged to TJ, to that family that's always ran TJ. I knew that. We knew about them. But I didn't know. I didn't grow up like that, so I didn't know that. My whole was gangs. To me, it's just gangs. Like, this is my neighborhood. Don't come in my neighborhood. We'll shoot you. And so in a sense, we came ready for Mexico. We already came ready because we've been doing this since we were 13, 14, 15, already in the streets like that, going through things, And so we show up over there. We're ready. It's not gonna be shocking to see blood. It's not gonna be to hear that sound of 30 rounds. Just I know that sound, whatever, Yeah, it's gonna scare you or startle you or whatever, but we know that sound. We know what it sounds like, car peeling out, car showing up, all these things. But Mexico's a different ball game. Like, totally different ball game on a totally different level. The level of violence is on another level. It's just different. At the end of the day, death is death, right? But, I could, shoot a bolt through your head and you're dead, right? And it's, whoa, Sean got shoot an arrow. He got an arrow in his head. You're dead, whatever.
And there's not many investigations of the murders. Is there a lot of them? Most of them are unsolved.
They don't get unsolved. Ed Calderon mentioned this. Ed Calderon's an ex-state police cop that was on the hunt looking for me over there. It became a friend of mine later, We're like real close friends, and I think 95% goes unsolved.
Yeah.
Something like that, or somewhere in the 90s. So we get over to Tijuana. House has just been abandoned but it's the water in the pool is black, grass is like waist high, but it's a badass pad. Has a dope ass bar. It's just a big ass pad, and we have no furniture. We have a little bit of money, but we start spending it, right? So first thing we do, I remember we went and got a thing like a pump to suck dirty water out. I don't know how or where we got it. We cleaned out the whole pool, we repainted it, and then we paid for these. They bring these like big old things of water and they fill it up, and then we got it nice and clear and everything. So now we're like, okay, this motherfucker's cold. We gotta heat this motherfucker up. So we had like $1,000 heating bill just on the pool every month in Mexico, because we leave it heating every day for like 8 hours, and then we go ride the quads. We go to the sand dunes over there past Rosarito in this place called Cantamar. Ride the the quads and the dirt bikes all day, and then come home and jump in the pool, and the pool be like a jacuzzi. It's like warm. So we don't know. We're running up bills, and then we start living in this house. And I remember, so it was now it's 3 fugitives that live in this house, right? So we start running out of money again, and when you start having no money, this when arguments start happening. Everybody stops liking each other. Everything you do is getting on my nerves. Because if you have money, everything you do is, I'm cool with it. Because you have money. If I have money, you're cool with it, no matter what, right? That's just basically how it is. So, we were arguing, fights, like not physical, but it almost went there. Threats, like, I'm gonna smoke your ass, or something. Almost like borderline threats are happening. I move out to the guest house in the back. But the guest house is big, has 3 bedrooms, big ass living room. Everything's like the tiles, like everything looks like I live in a house made of rocks. It's just super dope, right? So I remember one day the guys left, and I'm there by myself playing Madden. I forgot whatever year it was. I was playing that Madden, PlayStation 2. So I'm there, and I remember I kind of like I got sacked or shit happened, and I hit the ground like this. I'm sitting on the floor playing, the bed's behind me. I hit the ground, and I'm like, what the f-? That sounded like a loose tile, but there's carpet. I start hitting, and I'm like, there's a loose tile right here. And that house belonged to that guy that got killed. And there was there's a story that he buried one of his bodyguards at that house for looking at one of his side girls. So this house was kind of like haunted as well too. There's more stories later. So when that happened, I hit the town like, man, that would be so crazy if that's a hidden compartment. So I snatched all the beds out, put them in another room, and the carpet, it looked like it was there, but it wasn't there. I started peeling it off. I rolled the whole carpet out, and I take off the tile, and there's a safe in the ground. And I start sniffing the safe. I'm like, that smells like how birds of, you know what a bird, when there's a full one, that smell, that, and I'm like, that smells like yayo. So then I text my boy, and I'm like, hey, get over here and bring tools. Don't say nothing to this other dude we're hanging around. Shake him, as a matter of fact. I think we got some
Financial anxiety, anyone? Worrying about it doesn't help? Earnin does. Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay-as-you-work up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. If Jen wants a special night out or another bloody expensive handbag, I'm going to have to turn to Earnin. Make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Sean Atwood under podcast. That's SHAUNATT Wood. When you sign up, it'll really help this show. That's Sean Atwood under podcast. Earnin is a financial tech company, not a bank, subject to your available earnings, daily max, pay period, max, and location. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. Thank you for supporting our sponsor, Earnin. Back to the podcast. The link is in the description box below this video if you're watching it on YouTube. Cheers.
We with this safe for hours and hours until we get it open. And we're like, okay, so we broke this now. We crack it open and we're ready for to find even one would be, at this point, one would be because in those days they were probably I don't know, because it fluctuates, but it would be anywhere from 17 and up, on that side of the border, maybe even 15, 16. LA, maybe 21, maybe 19, maybe 20, I don't know. But we're there's one, we're making plans, as a matter of fact. We crack it open and there's nothing, but there's powder, flakes, tasting it, and it's oh. So next thing you know, we start tearing up the whole house. We're taking carpets off of everywhere, we're searching for everywhere, right? We're tearing up this house. We're like, man, there's some in this house. So we're in the kitchen, right? I remember we're in the kitchen, and there was a section where it had oven, microwave, and then there was a shelf on top of it. But maybe about this big, and one of my guys, he just passed away. He passed away in Centinela State Prison. He was one of the fugitives, right? He's tall. He's maybe your height, maybe a little bit less than you. He's like, man, there's some footsteps on the top of this shelf, and we're like, what? He just said it randomly. He goes, yeah, there's footsteps up here. Why would they stand up and what? Because the scene is concrete. Mexico, it's all concrete, cinder block. They build mini fortresses, So he starts fucking with it. He pulls out the shelf and he tells me, Rabbit, jump up here. Boom, they pick me up. I go up in there and he said, what you see? I'm like, fool, there's cigarette butts and old Corona bottles in there. There's a whole secret passage through the whole inside of the house. So we're like, give me the flashlight. I'm going in. So I go in there, searching everything. I'm like, man, there's got to be something in this pad. We need it so bad right now. We're so broke. The money that we came from Jalisco with is gone. We spend our lawyer money. And they didn't even give us full amounts. They played us, So We're searching through this house. We find nothing. Nothing, right? So, whatever. It don't matter. You move forward. I'm not dwelling on it. But we have it like there's something in here. Something's going to fall and it's going to make us look that way and we're going to find some shit. We always live with that. Like, so then, people were coming from the U.S. to see us, right? And we lived in the like the rich area behind. If you know TJ, you know where the casino's at?
I'm not that familiar with it.
Okay, well, there's this big casino owned by this guy named Hank Ron, who was like the president, like of TJ. He, like the U.S. even wanted him for like. So he has this casino called Caliente. They have it all through Mexico. That's his company, and we lived behind it. It's like all the big nice houses right there. Our neighbors were from the U.S. consulate, the U.S. embassy or whatever. So we're up. Cars were coming from L.A. with rims bumping. So we don't know. We're bringing attention to ourselves, right? And so over there, someone's watching all the time. Someone. And they're reporting what they're seeing to somebody. So these houses were red flag. Because that guy, the guy that died, that guy ran off, the people that ran the city had warned him, don't ever come back to my city or you're dead. But he still had houses there. So those houses were kind of like red flag. These belong to that one dude that's not allowed here. So we're in one. And now there's like cars coming in and out. At night, we'll come out in quads, go buy tacos, come back, go up to these one hills, use the phones. Because from this hill, you could see the Coronado Bridge. You could see San Diego. On a clear day, you could see Donovan State Prison. You could see the line. You could see everything, And so they were on us. We don't know this. They're watching us now. So one day, like they rang the doorbell. So the walls are high. You can't see inside the house. The walls are high. And in the kitchen, it had all these TV screens. So when someone rang the doorbell, all the cameras will go on. So all the screens will go on, I mean. So, and then, and we had a Rottweiler called Zeus. And that fool bark at squirrels, birds, anything, So the things go off, right? And then it has a little speaker, yeah, hey, what's going on? Who's the owner of this house? Oh, he's not here. So can someone come out and talk to us, please? He looked like a normal dude, normal Mexican man. He had some size on him, but I didn't think nothing. Kind of stocky, but size on him. Now that I think about it, he was kind of militaried out, thick neck, like, so nobody wants to go out. So I go out. But he's not at the door no more. He's in the car. He's in a Chevy Malibu. And I didn't know that in those days, La PGR, like the PGR was like that's like the Mexican FBI. They changed the name to FGR now. But that's what they would whip, those Malibus, right? But they didn't have no sticker, they didn't have nothing on it. It was just a unmarked car, right? So they call me and I walk up to the car. I walk up from like here to that J right there. This is the door. I walk all the way over there. And he's just interrogating me, asking me questions. Who lives in this house and this? I'm like, man, we're just renting it for the summer. Well, who do you pay the rent to? I'm like, the number's right there. So it was a sign on top that said for sale or for rent. And it had numbers from Jalisco. But there is bullshit. Like nobody's trying to sell that house or rent that house. They just had it there for like, and they're interrogating me. They peel out on me. They leave. So 2 weeks later, we're sitting in the house. So sometimes we wouldn't come out. See, sometimes we'll come out at night to go get food and then come back in the daytime. We won't be out. Like when you're a fugitive, sometimes you gotta hide in plain sight. Sometimes you gotta like just stay in that cave. Don't come out. It's like strategic. You start learning the ways how to do it, right? And this is in the early stages, so we're learning as we go. So now, I remember we had called for a pizza. Me and my friend, the other fugitive, the tall one. And my other friend had left with his cousin. They had left. This is the fingerprint guy. So they had left. They were out there doing, they were trying to get something going. So it was cool. You know, we want to be in the way. Like, why are these two guys here? Type.
Do you want to explain to the viewers what you meant by the fingerprint guy?
There's a guy, a friend of ours that he passed away as well. This guy had his fingerprints surgically removed and turned inside out and sewed back on both of his hands. And so, and he at this time he had it, so it's done. When we show up, he was on his second hand. And so okay, so we're waiting for the pizza, right? And one of our friends shows up from California. He had just bought a car at auction. So this car has no horn. You know, he just bought it at auction. So he shows up and we're like, hey, let us borrow the car to go pick up the pizza. Wanted to get out because sometimes, imagine you got to be in this room for COVID vibes. That's why when COVID happened, fools were stressed out. I was like, man, I've been through this. This shit's not nothing to me, you know? Like, I've been, what was the word they were using? It's not isolated, or there was a word they were using. I don't know, there was a word they were using for it.
We might have used different words in the UK.
Well,
we had to self-isolate and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, so COVID was going on. I was like, man, I went through 15 years of COVID. And then, so my guy's like, here's the keys, but it has no gas. Here's $20, put gas in it. So, and we lived like in a dead end, like two dead ends, like two twin dead ends. And there's like a little park in the middle. So we get in the car, we come out, we make a right. Right across the street, there was a Ford Explorer. And when we I noticed there was dudes in there, like 4 dudes in there. We make a right. I look and I'm like, either there was binoculars or it was a big ass camera lens. That's what I seen. But I didn't want to look back because I just seen out the corner of my eye. I was like, and my guy was driving. So I'm like, did you see that? He's like, yeah, what the fuck was that? I'm like, man, that was a camera with a big ass lens, or those were some big ass binoculars. The car comes behind us. It starts following us. We make turns. They're on us, and we're like, oh shit, we have a problem. So I start calling. These days there's Boost Mobiles and Nextels. I don't know if you remember the little radios like chirps. So I start chirping my friend. Call him on the Boost radio, or the Nextel, whatever. I'm calling. I'm like, yo, we got tail. How do you know? I'm like, it's obvious. Hurry up, get down here and block them off so that we could peel out. And then, okay, we're on our way. And they weren't that far. They were on top of this hill. If people that know this, TJ, there's a radio station in this area. So a church up there and a radio station. And the fingerprint guy had a condo up there. So they're coming down, but Mexico has a lot of speed bumps. A lot. They put speed bumps everywhere, and there's potholes everywhere. So it's like up, down, up. You can't fly down the street. It's nearly impossible. Unless you don't care about your suspension on your car. So they're trying to come down. They're following us. My guy driving is like, I'm going to punch it. I'm like, no, just wait. We're going. And then I'm on like 4 phones, you know. We're calling everybody like, hey, this is what this was going on. And all the phones are going off. At that point, I'm the operator. He's driving. I'm the eyes behind his head. What are they doing? I go, they're on phones too. We're watching each other. We're both on phones. They're calling for backup. We're calling for backup. So out of nowhere, my guy punches it. And when he punches it, like lights went off in the grill. You know how they have the lights in the grill? Those cop lights, but in the grill, they go off. And they put the sun visors down and it said FBI. So my heart dropped like, oh, this is serious. So I didn't know what to do. I was in state of shock. Like, I was kind of confused because I know that the FBI cannot go in Mexico like that. And the car had California plates because I remember my friend asked me that. And I told him that. And he's like, and I'm telling him. And then, so now everything changed. Now it's a high-speed chase going on. So I call the house. And I tell my guy, bring all the weapons out. Bring all the bulletproof vests out. Hurry up. Put everything on top of the trash cans. Open the garage. We're going to come smashing through. You come out and you bust on them while we get dressed. So he's like, what? And I'm like, hurry up. We're like 1 minute away. Hurry up. So I know him. He's in shock too. Like, he's with it. The guy I'm talking about, he's proven. He's official. He's with the business. But still, it don't matter. You need more information and I'm giving them like a minute. So we're going. They're chasing us. We're getting close to the house. The garage door's closed. So we have no choice. Now we're going. Now it's Grand Theft Auto video game. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock. We're on the sidewalk crashing into cars. They don't have no horn, so we can't. So they're chasing us. And all of a sudden, the back, I'm looking. This guy's driving. I'm looking back. And I get down. He's like, what happened? And I'm like, because the guy came out the back window, the passenger back window. It was like the scope on it was a rifle, right? But the scope looked so big. I'm like, oh, So I told my guy, we're going to have to split up because the tip on that bullet is going to be this big. It's a big ass rifle. And this is not, Mexico's not running around with no 30 yacht. That's, cowboys and Indians. Like, Mexico has weaponry. Everything, you know that. They get all this from all over the U.S. and it goes over there. Like, an AK is like a joke, and these days AK was popular, but now they don't got AKs, Why would you have an AK when you can have an AR-15 or this other thing, So the dude's aiming at us, and I'm down and I'm like, whoa, let's just stop the car. Let's just, boom, go. Because the bullet will go through that whole car, hit a limb, blow a whole piece of your body off. There's no, it's not science. And we know this, We're going. And I said this in another interview. It's crazy because he would always tell me when we would go to the mountain to use the phones on the quads, he'd be like, man, this, man, I can't stand this, man. Let's just turn ourselves in. And I would tell him like, nah, I got to do. But I don't know what I had to do. I just would say, that was my, I got to do. That was my response. And in TJ, just like in Sonora at the borders, they have a lot of money exchange houses, casas de cambio, where you change money, right? But most of those are owned by cartel guys or government people that are like, they're the same thing. It's like they're like, if they're not connected by business, they're connected by family, or some type of situation like that, right? So my friend, he had been doing research and he had been doing his homework and he was getting ready to rob. He goes, look, I know how I watch them when they move the money, when they come pick up the money, when they take the dollars, when they bring, we're gonna hit one of these. And I remember telling him like, nah, I don't want to with it, fool, because those things are they're a property of somebody that we're not gonna be able to deal with it. It's gonna be overwhelming. We're not gonna be able to deal with it. Man, damn, we'll take this, man. My guy was with the business too. He was like certified like a gangster, and I love them, I both of them, and they're both gone now. My two fugitive brothers, they were totally different. One was real quiet and serious. The other one was wild, good driver too, and then he's like, that we're gonna give up. And then at the same time, I'm on the phone. All the phones are going off. Where you at? I'm like, I'm behind the casino. Casino has a big parking lot, like not as big as Dodger Stadium, but it's a big ass parking lot. So we pull up somewhere like behind it, right? He pulls over. They pull up. They don't move in on us. They stay behind, and they jump out all tactical. The U.S. would have been like, okay, driver, with your left hand, take the keys out, throw them out, open your door with the right hand, lay on the floor. Nah, these fools were like putting one in the chamber, getting ready, moving, like circling us, like they're ready for it, And then we're kind of like, I'm ready to, I had the door open. Remember how I said those kids, they pulled up with the door open? When in the chase at this point, I have my door open because I'm going to jump out of the car. My guy wants to turn himself in. I'm like, I got to do. And so, I was scared. I'm sure he was scared, or just the adrenaline. Again, survival, instinct kicks in. So you're just trying to survive. You're trying to make it another 60 seconds. You don't, nothing's promised at that point. So if back then, these money exchange houses, they would have like it would be like an armed municipal police, armed federal, or armed state in the front, like protecting them, And I'm not sure, see, whoever watches this, they know this corner that I'm talking about because I've said it before. They will know if it was a bank, a small bank, because it's a restaurant. Now, I always pass through there when I go there, when I go back to Mexico now. Now it's a restaurant or some yoga, something on the roof. It's different now, But I don't know if it was a money exchange or a bank. But when that happened, he looks, and they're already coming with guns. So he points the gun at them, and he's like, put your weapons down. And they're showing badges. You put your weapon down. And he's like, no, I'll call him for backup. Hey. And I heard it. I heard him say something like, it's an attempted bank robbery or attempted robbery of the place. Put him down. No, you put him down. When that happened, I remember I put my foot over the gear thing. I pulled the gear. I put it in drive, and I punched the gas. And my guy's like, what are you doing? Like, do a U-turn. We did a U-turn. He almost ran one over. We crashed like 5-6 cars in that U-turn. Boom, 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 boom. We hit every car. And now the helicopter's coming. Now we seen like 5, 6, 7 cop cars coming down our way. But we're going up now. Now they're going towards there. We go. To make a long story short, we got away.
Keep it long.
Keep it long?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're Grand Theft Auto, crashing cars out of the way, trying to make it. Boom. We get in a car accident, but we make it out still, the car's running. I knew all these back roads to get back up to the hills. And we dumped the car in condominium complex, right? And we blocked it with a trash can. We tried to cover it with some branches from a tree, and so and then we ran up to Fingerprints. Mom's condos were like the next complex is like a block up. So we ran to her house, and she sees that I'm frantic, and my guy's just like, and I'm doing all the talking. What happened? I'm like, I don't know. The FBI was chasing us because I missed a spot. When the chase started, right after the FBI thing, I seen them put on bulletproof vests. And when they put on the bulletproof vests, it said PGR. So I was confused. Everything that's happening, I'm reporting it. I'm like, hey, the shit says FBI in the sun visors. What? And I'm like, there can't be no FBI driving around in Mexico. I remember my friend telling me this, right? And I'm like, it got California plates. And he's like, fool, that's not the FBI. And then later, when I seen them when they put the bulletproof vest, I'm like, fool, they're putting out bulletproof vests, said PGR, La PGR. And then so we get away, dump the car, we run to her house, and she's like, calm down. But I've never been in a situation like this. So I'm like losing my mind. She's like, here, drink some water. Dude, calm down. I couldn't. I was just like so much adrenaline is running through my body. I'm just like, sit down. I'm like, no, I can't sit down. I'm pacing back and forth. She had a little living room because small little condo. So I'm like, and I'm waiting for my other guys to show up. So they show up. And I remember he's like, what happened? And I'm like, fool, with the FBI. And he's like, fool, don't say that word. Shh, someone could be hearing, and I'm like, and I just explained it. And the fingerprint guy's like, man, they were going to kidnap you guys. That wasn't the cops. Those were fake cops. They came to kidnap you guys. So we go to his condo, right? We end up, he pulls up in the X5. We're laying down. We go to his condo. We're chilling there. We go over the story. We break down the story over and over and over. And what he looked like and what. And, they're asking me all the details. And it was fresh, so I'm remembering everything, fresh. Right now, it's kind of like forgetting, then I'm coming back. But right there, I was describing them, like what they look like and everything. And then I remembered they were the guys that came to the house 2 weeks ago and asked who lived in this house. It all came together, right? So we're at his condo up to like 10 p.m. And he was a businessman, He's like, hey, I got some meetings in the morning. I got to go to bed. What are you guys going to do? So we don't have a car. He's like, here, I'm going to give you this car. He gave us a car. This car comes into play later. This car had an electronic stash boxes. They would just use it to transport money. So we go back to the house. We're back at this house, right? And now we're bulletproof vests on. We're strapped up, assault rifle, handgun, clips, bullets. Like we're just ready to go, right? But we're all pacing. Everybody's just pacing back and forth, like, going through. And I remember I had a friend of mine that she would always go to Chicago. She would drive for some other guys to Chicago, but she was on a lot of medication, psych meds, and all kinds of shit. So when she would go, everything that wasn't in the little what do you call them? The little containers, little bottles of whatever. She would have to leave those pills there. She could only take the ones that were for that bottle. So in case they got stopped, nothing was out of the ordinary. Like, why the you have these extra green pills or whatever and this container only has white pills? So I remember I would go to this drawer and I was popping these pills. I don't know what they were. Prozac, Thorazine, I don't know what the they were. And then I would roll up like a fat ass joint. I'd hit it. Then I strip down, jump in the pool. I come out and I couldn't stop. I was just so, I don't know if I was nervous, scared, anxiety, like a mixture of everything, because I know in a little bit we're probably going to die. And it's going to be a shootout. And, and we got weapons and we're going to give it to them and they're going to give it back to us. And if they're the government, of course, they're going to have more and we're going to lose. And we're in the dead end. There's only one way out, that way. I mean, we could have jumped over the back house, but how far we would have. I think about it right now, the way it's laid out, we wouldn't have got that far. We wouldn't have. Because behind that, okay, there's behind the casino, there's a private area where like the richest, the governors, and everybody lives. It's called Puerta de Hierro in TJ. Whoever's watching this, Google this shit. Like cartel bosses live in there. When you come into it, it's on the street where our high-speed chase started. It's called Puerta de Hierro. So the mansion, the mini mansion we're staying at, was on the outside of it. But if we jumped over through the back, we would be inside of there. What if we jumped behind a governor's pad or a high-ranking police officer or a cartel member or I don't know, something, I don't know. It wouldn't have worked. It would have been a big drop too. And then so I remember my guy, right? The tall one. We're going to call him Stretch because that's what I used to call him, Stretch. Stretch calls his sister, right? And in this times, like, we're doing bad, right? I just seen her at his funeral the other day. And we're doing so bad. She was doing this check fraud. So these dudes were making checks. They'll get like a $3,000 check. That's my phone, but they were getting these checks, and somehow they would erase it and turn 3,000 into 30,000. And she was just hitting all Southern California. So for every that's what she would get. I think 10% off of every check, or something like that. She was cashing the checks. So she was hitting all Southern California. So basically, she was supporting us. She was paying our crazy water bill for the swimming pool. She'll bring us like $800 worth of groceries all the time. She'll bring us a bunch of chips for the boost throwaway phones. You change the chips like as soon as you had to, you feel it like, gotta get rid of these phones, new phones. And so she does all this, right? She was looking out for us. So Stretch calls his sister, right? And he tells her, hey, go to West Covina to the witch's house. So she drives over from wherever in LA she was staying at. She went to West Covina, another city in LA, to a witch's house. So now we got the witch on speaker. And she's like, I don't know what she's doing. She's doing tarot cards, whatever. She's doing some shit. So I tell her, I'm like, hey, I just want to know, are they good or are they bad? I want to know if they're cops or criminals. So I'm like, son buenos o son malos? I tell her that, right? And she goes, son buenos, pero son malos. They're cops, but they're bad. And what's gonna happen? She said in Spanish, she said, they're gonna wait till you guys get tired and they're gonna come over the wall and kill you guys. So we're like, what the Here I go back to the swimming pool. Smoke more, take more pills. I'm tripping out on this, right? So I'm like, okay, all right. So, and then she tells me, mijo, she's look, I'm gonna describe the way your house looks. But on the other side, like where the driveway's at, where the garage door's at, on the other side there's a gas meter. There's a square. It's about this high off the ground, and you could see outside to the street. And we're all hearing her like, what the this bitch is good. She knows her shit. You know, she's a witch. She could see through dimensions and portals. I don't know what the right. But she was so on it that every time she was on it, she was scaring us or just like making us that's cool.
Here you go. Want some wine?
Yeah.
While you drink that, I'll just say to the viewers, check out Conejo's links in the description box below this video if you're watching it on YouTube. Support his work. We're an hour in, and this is just, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. I've heard it before, and I'm just as gripped as the first, even though I'm more gripped because he's giving more detail. So yeah, brilliant. Let's keep going.
So this is, and let me remind you, this is only like year 2 of me being a fugitive. I still got another 13 years to go, you know? Oh yeah, this is year 2, I'm thinking. And so she tells me, go out there. She goes, duck down and then look out, and you're gonna see a gray Ford F-150 truck out there with tinted windows. And I go, and there was one parked out there. So we're losing it. I come back, I tell the guys, they're like, it's right there. And so Stretch, he's hot-headed, he's wild. He's like, man, this. Let's just go at it with them now. Let's just end this shit now. So we open up the garage and we move out. We like 2 of us flank to the left, right, and one up the middle. So we move in on the truck, and I come in close, and right before we're about to let off on the truck, I see that there's no one in there. So I'm like, stop. Hold up. And again, our neighbors, the U.S. Embassy, these dudes were always partying with like prostitutes and shit, partying with chicks. We could hear them. That wall where that jacuzzi was like right next to our wall. So we could hear all these chicks laughing and clowning, and we could hear bottles and a lot of partying, you know? So right when that happens, we're like, oh, let's like reverse back quietly into the house, put the thing down. And now it's like, okay, now let's go back in the pool. Now I'm like, man. So we huddle up and we're like, okay, this is our plan. When they come over the wall, we're gonna like be on them. When they come down, we're gonna be like, look, we just want a job. We want to work for you guys. We don't have anything. We're not making no money. We're struggling. We want a job. Give us a job. That's what we thought we were gonna do. That was our plan, you know? So then the next day in the morning, so my guy, the one that came with the car that started the high-speed chase, he leaves in the car that they let us borrow. He leaves. So we have no car. So in the morning, someone shows up, and this person takes us they bring us a car, and we load up all the guns, all bulletproof vests, ammo, everything in a carpet like this. And it looked like we put a body in the trunk. It was like, and it was, it was fat because it was a lot of stuff, And we go to Rosarito. And then we get a hotel. This hotel everybody knows this hotel. It's called El Quinta Mar. And it has like a little bar in the bottom part of it. So we go up to the room, and we're back to no one's talking to each other because we weren't getting along before this high-speed chase. Remember, everybody was bumping heads, and we're just in the hotel room, and everybody's like in one corner, but there's 3 of us, but no one's talking. Everybody's just quiet. TV's on. We're just like, so I remember I was like, man, you know what? I need a beer. This is too much. In my head, I was like, I'm just gonna turn myself in. This is too much. I can't handle it. I go to the bar. I get my beer. And I'm thinking like, how could I get to the border? What would I do? This is too much, And then my 2 boys come down, and they're like, they're like, if you want to, let's just go to Papas and beer and get up. And we, in the middle of all this, we go to a club in Rosarito Beach and we start drinking beer and a screwdriver, which is what orange vodka and orange juice, right? So it's like, boom, we throw back the screwdriver and then have a beer. Before you know it, we're drunk. Before you know it, I blacked out. I'm on the main boulevard in Rosarito throwing up on the side of a wall. Then they have these old school taxis. They're like long station wagons. And if you get the back seat, you're in the back looking that way while the car's going this way, you know? So we're there. It takes us back to the hotel. My boy f***s up and gives him $200 for like a short little ride. We're so drunk. We wake up in the morning and we all, I felt like my spot was the bathroom. I threw up all over the bathroom. The bathtub, I missed the toilet. I threw up everywhere. I wake up, I feel like these fools threw up on the bed, on the carpet. The whole room's full of throw up. And they're knocking now. It's time to check out. So we don't have nowhere to go. So we're like, we get a taxi. We roll up the guns again. The taxi guy's like, hey, ¿está todo bien? Is everything cool? Because he's like seen us put this, he thinks we're putting a dead body in the trunk of his car, you know? And we have nowhere to go, so we go back to the house. So we come back to the house, and now we're back. We're strapped up again, and we're just in the kitchen just staring at the cameras, at all the TV screens. From the cameras, just all you know how they move, and then, so we're just, no one's talking. It's just quiet, and we're just looking at the Oh, and by now, you know what happened? They cut off our gas. They cut off because we didn't pay it. So we have no gas. Next was going to be the electricity. So we can't even cook. We're on some microwave at this point. So we're right there, right? And then my guy, the one with the car, he comes to pick up the car because it's still up there where we left it. So he comes and gets the car to cross back over. So my guy Stretch, he didn't have no tattoos. And he looked just like his brother. So, and in these days, when you cross the border, now they got to slide your passport. And these days, you could cross with an ID. They look at it, ask you a little quick question, and you could just go over the border. This is 2003, 2004 maybe. At the latest, 2004. But then it's like 2003. And then, or who knows? We would have to check when he got busted. Because he's going to go to jail now, coming up. So he comes to get the car, right? And then Stretch is like, you know what? I'm going to go back with him. And I remember he took an order for us. He's like, okay, what are you going to want? So we were like, you know, give me some brand new Air Force Ones. I need a pack of white shirts, some muscle shirts. And I'm going to, you know, just things that we needed, you know, because we would do that. If someone's going to go to somewhere where you're going to get it. So you take, even though we're not talking, he's taking everybody's order. What are you going to want? I'm going to get this, bring some whey protein bag and some shit like that, right? And then I remember he's like, he tells me, he's like, don't worry, I just want to, his sister got busted. The one that was cashing the check, she went to the feds for that. I forgot how much she did. She gets busted, so he goes, I want to go to LA and see what's going on with my sister. I'll be back in a few days. And he goes in his little, he had some like cut out, he had some jean shorts. And he goes in the little pocket and he pulls out and he gives me $200. I don't know, it was $200. Yeah, it was $200. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, but I'm sure it was $200. He gives it to me and he's like, I'll be back. And then he leaves. So now me and the other guy, my other co-defendant, we talked more. Me and him. I mean, I you know what? They were hating each other. At this point, they were more at war. I was the moral compass of the group. I was the mediator. You know, and you know, so me and him were like, well, what are we gonna do? Man, we didn't know what to do. We're just looking at the cameras. It's like if we're high on drugs. That's how paranoid we are.
Hey, do you know what that sound means? Ooh, that's something I've been hearing a lot lately. I can't help but love that. That's what I hear when I make another sale on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. The Pokemon business I've recently started with someone is absolutely thriving thanks to Shopify. Shopify accepts all kinds of payments, and sometimes it's complex when you get on a platform, but their dashboard makes it completely simple. Covering all your sales channels from a shopfront-ready POS system to its all-in-one e-commerce platform, Shopify even gets you selling across social media marketplaces like Facebook, Insta, TikTok, and YouTube. Full of the industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth, Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without learning new skills in design or coding. And thanks to award-winning help and with an extensive business course library, Shopify is ready to support your success every step of the way. So when it comes to dealing with people all over the world, Shopify is absolutely enabling us to smash it with our Pokemon business. Before Shopify, our Pokemon card business was in the dark ages. It's time to get serious about selling and get Shopify today. This is Possibility powered by Shopify. Sign up for a £1 per month trial period at shopify.co.uk/Sean, SHAUN, all lowercase. Go to shopify.co.uk/Sean, SHAUN to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.co.uk/Sean. Link in description box below this video on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Back to the podcast.
We're gone by this time. And then we got a stupid hangover, crazy hangover. Me, I smoke. He didn't smoke. Me, I'm smoking weed. You know, like, I'm just trying to, like, I don't know, just another 60 seconds, another 5 minutes. 5 minutes I was living 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time. So we're there in the kitchen, right? About an hour passes by. Usually it takes them about like an hour to cross back, hour, 2 hours, whatever. We had the radios on the counter. All of a sudden, the radio goes off. Boop, 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 boop. Get out of the house. Get out of the house. He tells me in Spanish, and he says the code word for the feds. So what happened when they reported the car, it was the PGR, and the FBI was with them. You know, they were with them. So it was them, right? So you hear like a scuffle. So when he was crossing the border, like whatever, you know how when you get to the border, at one point you're in the U.S. Once you pass that those little like speed bumps on the ground, even though there's 10, 15 cars before you cross, you're already in the U.S. So once they got in there, I guess the plates were reported something. They pushed that button and the feds just came out, and you know, there wasn't no Homeland Security back then. It was just
DEA, FBI, all that.
No. At the border it's Border Patrol.
Yeah, Border Patrol.
They had a different name back then. Now they're like Homeland Security or some shit. I don't know. So whatever. And the FBI, they rushed the car. So they're wrestling with him, and he's giving me the heads up, like, get out of the house, get out of the house. So those fails. That's what they call the feds, the ugly ones. The fails, you know?
ICE. Was it ICE back then?
Nah, ICE wasn't around yet. Right now, it's Homeland Security and ICE.
Yeah.
Before, it was just U.S. immigration or some shit,
yeah.
Or whatever. But with the feds, they raided the car, right? They rushed the car. And then it stopped, and we heard that, and we're like, because it sounded loud. So then it goes off again like 30 seconds later, and he's like, get out. And we're like, what the So we're tripping. So nothing. 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute. I chirp it. It's like a walkie-talkie. So I'm like, burp, burp, and it went through. And then I don't know if they said, who is this? But I was like, hey. I was like trying to change my voice. Hey. And then I think I said, who's this? Something like that. And then I heard a female's voice said, you know who this is, you stupid motherfucker. And she was a fed. My guy told me that later. She said, you know who this is, you stupid motherfucker. As soon as she said that, I took the chip off the phone. I broke the chip, threw the phone away. And we're like, man, we got to get the fuck out of here. But the only thing we had was quads. A Raptor and a Banshee to get out of there, you know? So we couldn't go nowhere. And then we had a gang of weapons. So how are we going to transport these weapons on quads? You know, so we stayed up all night waiting for them to come. So we're just like, it was kind of sad because it's almost like we were telling each other goodbye. Without saying goodbye, we'll look at each other like, and just say some shit. Okay. And so we waited all night. And then there's more parts and details, these little details, but I'm not gonna put them in because it has to do with family members of both my friends.
Yeah.
But it was cold blooded. How they got the cold shoulder immediately when this happened to us. It was like, f them and f everybody. So it was just cold what happened, and we were in a position where we couldn't do nothing but like just be like, oh, what the f have I got myself into? And so then the next day in the morning around 7 a.m. we look in the cameras and it's Fingerprint's mom. She had a black Denali. So boom, the Denali, we buzz her in. Garage comes in. She comes in. She's like, you guys got like 1 or 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I forgot what the amount. We're leaving now. Get your toothbrush. Get some basic shit. We're out of here. So that's what we did. I got a backpack with like 2 pairs of boxers, like some socks, an extra pair of socks, like the basics, and a toothbrush. No, we take no guns, no nothing. We jump in the car with her and we start. And there's no talking. She's not talking to us. Nothing. And we're just quiet. She takes us to the east side of TJ. And then I remember she pulls up to this crackhead motel. It looks nice now, but it's probably f***ed up on the inside because I see it a lot now. And it was called Paraíso, Paradise. So we pull up to this motel, and then she doesn't tell me, she tells her nephew, go with God, like in Spanish. And we'll get off. She don't say get off, but it's like, may God protect you guys, go with God, may he protect you or some shit. And we're like, oh shit. So we're in the front of this motel, and there's like crackheads and prostitutes. It's just grimy. It's like one of those, So we walk up to the front lobby, and I was like, hey, I need a room. And it was cheap. It was like 300 pesos a night, which is like $15 or something. And then we go up in there, and it's one of those motels that smells like fucking cigarette. It's fucking nasty. 2 channels on the TV work, the news and the porno channel. It's nasty. The walkways, it was a 3-story one. So the walkways have carpet. So you could imagine what that carpet smells like. And then, so, we had a little bit of money. I had the $200. He had a little bit. So it was enough to eat a cup of noodle soup 3 times a day and pay for another night at a time. So we're paying like by day, another night. We'll switch the room, move it, like just to like, so that we thought that was like strategy, like we're gonna move rooms tonight. So if they rate that other room. But but we had our phones. So we were making we kind of got over hating, like being mad at each other. Because in reality, we had a lot of love for each other. All of us, all 3 of us, we were good friends. We were all hanging out together in LA, but just our situation put a strain on our relationship, and it like you start getting grouchy, and so we put our minds together and we pulled, how can I say this without? Remember I had told you something about you could be in TJ and have a crack house in LA?
Yes.
Well, something like that was going on. And I was like, bring me that. I need all that. Anything that's over there, I need it. And then we started collecting the money. So we stayed there like a month and a half. So we were so scared in the lobby. Well, it was not even the lobby. It looked like a pawn shop. It was just all secure. But you could buy a cup of noodles and a Coke there. So for breakfast, we would share a cup of noodles, me and him. A little cup of noodle, we share it, me and him, and a Coke. That was breakfast. For lunch, we share another one. They didn't sell chips. They didn't have nothing. So we're eating a shrimp one. Then we'll switch to a chicken one. Then we'll get a chili one, the different flavors. A day, three a day. And I remember once we collected some money, we could have got food, but we're scared to leave. So after like, I think it was like a month, I was like, man, this. I'm going to go get some tacos, fool. You are? Yeah, I'm going to just go out. And there was a lot of taco spots, right? But then I waved down a taxi and I went all the way to McDonald's and I bought a gang of shit from McDonald's. I came back with bags and I bought tacos. So it was, I remember this day, like clearly, like we were like, cause it was like bed, right? And we're sitting there and when he seen me come in with all the bags of McDonald's, not that McDonald's is gourmet or anything, but he sees this, he gets happy. And I always remember that he gets happy. He's like, yeah, you shot that fool. You did it. Like Big Macs and quarter pounders and all this shit, and big gulp sodas. And I come in with all this shit, right? And tacos. He's like, oh, you did a good thing, fool. Man. Because I know how he was just like me in a way, like we're tired of eating couple noodle soups, you know what I'm saying? 3 times a day with a Coke. Gross. And like about 2 weeks later, we rented a house. We ended up renting a house, right? We found this. It was like in the hood, right? On the outside, it looked ugly, but on the inside, whoever made this house, you could tell they were making money because they had all dope ass hardwood floors. On the outside, it looked ugly, 2-story house, dirty, like that. But once you went in, all hardwood floors, jacuzzi, bathtub. It was pretty dope, So we're like, and I remember that first day we got it. Well, we haven't slept. On top of we haven't been sleeping for being a fugitive, we haven't slept from almost getting caught, right? And then, so we bought these little mats, maybe as thick as this. Nah, hell nah, thicker, like a jail mat. Somewhere they were selling these little mats. They were like sort of like little jail mats, like the ones you have in there.
What you sleep on, like yoga mats.
Yeah, it's like some like
Skinny.
this. Yeah, and we bought 2. No furniture. He's in one room, I'm in another room. We threw it, fell asleep for like a day straight, and then from there we started like again, that entrepreneur. Okay, we have a vehicle that has a secret compartments. We know some people. We have a little bit of money. If we invest it and we lose and it doesn't go the way we plan, we lose everything. We're beyond back to point 0, And it worked. And boom, that brought a little bit of relief. And then we tried it again and it worked and it worked and it worked. And so that started making things cool again. Like, I'll go buy some shoes or just the minimal things. I want to buy some shirts and we started getting furniture, and then I'm gonna go buy some PlayStation games because we played a lot of PlayStation. When you're a fugitive, you play a lot of PlayStation. There's a lot of time for that, So, and then it was up because we had a lot of that journey was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of sad moments where it was just like hopelessness, a lot of hopelessness, a lot of just a lot of just like the struggle was just like, it's just a hardship struggle because, yeah, whatever, you don't have no money, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with being poor. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a bigger problem right here. We're wanted for murder in the United States. And the Mexican government and the U.S. government is looking for us. So that's the real issue underlining everything. So having no money, yeah, whatever, it's cool. But having no money when you're a fugitive is the worst shit. You need money to be a fugitive. All the fugitives, I know there's gonna be a lot of fugitives watching this, and they know this because they've reached out to me, and they've reached out to my lawyers after everything. They want to come home. I gave them hope, them faith. That it. Who knows? And you need money to be a fugitive. Without money, it's going to be very hard because you need money to move. You got to keep moving. If you have to move, you got to keep moving. Sometimes you don't have to keep moving. You got to hide in plain sight or this or that. And so...
At this point, are you worried about those guys coming back who tried to kidnap you?
Nah, because we're on the whole other side of TJ. They could have, but again, we're learning as we go. And now... my guy calls from the county jail to a burner phone we had, right? The stretch. He calls me, right? Well, he calls both of us and we're talking to him and he's just like, I'm like, what happened, fool? And he tells me, he's like, man, they were asking for the Filipino one. They had pictures. So they took pictures. That thing, that was a camera. They're like, when they got him, they told him, "Where's your Filipino friend?" They thought I was Filipino. You know, so they weren't clear pictures. Or if they would have been clear, they would have been on it, because they would have been like, "Wait a minute, this guy's a bigger catch than these guys." Even though, because just because of like not that I'm a criminal mastermind, whatever, you know, monster, but just because of the music and who I was, it was bigger. We were on, at that point I missed this part. When we were still in Jalisco, we appeared on Fox 11, Los Angeles Most Wanted, with Chris Blatchford. He did a whole piece on us. And man, I remember when that happened, right? So now I'm going back. I'm going to just go back because I missed this. I remember one night, the night it aired, I didn't know. So I put a phone line in this house. We had a house in Jalisco where I was staying at, right? I put a phone line in there. And I think 3 people at most had this number from the US, but they were told, you have to go to payphones far away, inside malls, inside somewhere, if you're going to call this number. Do not call. And they knew, and they would. So that night, I remember it was like raining and thundering or something like that. I'm trying to think, because I know when it rains over there, there's a whole season where it gets crazy in Jalisco. Like almost like monsoons from Arizona, something like that, you know? It rains hard, but it's humid, and it's like, you know, that type. Well, whatever. The phone's ringing, and the phone is downstairs, but Mexico is like scary vibes. So you think, oh, that was going to be down there. I ain't going down there till the sun comes up. You know, it's like that, like a lot of superstitious, you know. So the phone's ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And I'm like, man, it's something. Let me go get the motherfucker. Because it'll ring like 15 times and it'll stop. Then it'll start again. So I'm like, man, I'm going to go get it. I get it. And they're like, oh, you just came out on LA's Most Wanted. Someone told me later we were on America's Most Wanted. I never seen it, but I was told this later, years later. Because, you know, they couldn't, so they go to America's. When they can't catch you in LA, they go to. So I'm like, what? So that next day, I'm all f***ed up. I'm dizzy. I'm lightheaded. I'm nauseous. I want to throw up. It's real. You know, you just came out on LA's Most Wanted. It's real. And then I remember, then I got a VHS tape of it sent to me. And I would sit there and watch it over and over and over for hours, analyzing it. Like analyzing what okay, if he said this, what does he really mean by that? And then, okay, right here, they're exaggerating. But then I remember I focused in on the pictures, right? There was a picture of me and a picture of my friend, co-defendant, not Stretch. Stretch he had his own different murder case. And on my picture, they had a number in the bottom that said FBI with a number on it, like some kind of number on it. It was f***ing with me in my head, you know, like, oh man, you know, I'm you know, it's more serious with me just because of the music. It's like, it's more like, you know, the news sensationalized. It's like if you got in trouble right now. Sean Atwood, podcast guy, just killed his neighbor for over a parking spot or whatever. You know, sources say that before he killed him, he slapped him 10 times or some, you know, pistol whipped him, and then something, whatever, right? So I would watch that video, and it would just, I was addicted to it, but it would make me sick. Every time I watched it, it would make me sick. It's just like, it f***ed me up. So fast forward, we're back in these times. We have that tape. We always watch it. We're always watching it, always watching it, always watching it. So we had a third co-defendant. Third co-defendant gets caught right away. He's kind of like the one that gave us the heads up. Like, hey, they already have him, and he makes a call, and he uses code names, and he's like, they want this guy, they want to talk to him and him. We're like, oh, time to go. That's how we, you know, we knew. And then, so we got a hold of his paperwork. So we're all in the paperwork. So we started reading. We're like, oh man, they're lying. And they were all like, everybody was like lying on me. Like, I'm like, that didn't even happen. Because I remember like when the shots went off, the one shot went off. one shot went off, I got out of there, get in my truck, and I leave, and a lot of shots went off in that process. But this person is saying that she looked out the window and that I was over the body. And I'm like, what the I'm like, that's bad. Because if you seen that, you'd be like, oh, and then look at me, you're like, oh, yeah, he's guilty. You're not caring if, like people judge you real quick, So, and there was a lot of statements in it, but at the same time, there were statements that were like telling the truth and were like, nah. And then there was a part in it where the detectives were trying to like coerce the witness, right? And then, but this paperwork was when he went to preliminary, because he got released at prelim. He was there for like a year, goes to prelim, and they release him. So that paperwork, I remember it had some, like it said something like, they're like interviewing some girl, and she's like, so you're saying that Conejo did it? And she's like, hell no, I'm not saying that. I didn't even see him there. Yeah, but you said this. I go, you said that. This girl, whoever she is, she was smart, and she wasn't intimidated by them, because they were using, if you read it, you could see. And I'm sure, like, my case, now that it's over with, it's public record. You could buy it online for $15, You could buy the and I don't know if all this is going to be in there, because she didn't go to my prelim. I never even went to prelim. But we'll get to that. So we're in TJ, looking brighter. We're starting to get happy, start going to all the fights. I remember always going to see fights in Mexico, and these days, it was Morales was still fighting. This is when boxing was still. So Morales fought Barrera. I remember we went to go see that fight. It was one of our first fights. We went out, we're like, me and my guy were like, hey, I told him, like, man, let's go see the fights. All right, cool, let's go. We went to a little pool hall and watched the fights, and he's always a gambling man, so he'd be like, you want to bet? And I'm like, fool, I don't care about that, but I'll go for TJ and I'll go for what's his name? Eric Morales, El Terrible. I'll go for him. And whatever, and we would start going out, and then later we purchased our own houses, and just got a little bit better, now years are passing, so now we're like getting adapted to our environment for reals. Now we're in there. You asked me if I partied? Yeah, I partied. There was times where I'll party from like Thursday to Sunday, party, and then like Monday we like snap back out of it, and I got cool memories. I remember this one New Year's, because he passed away, and like sometimes I don't never forget about him, but like I think about these things, these like, and I remember this one New Year's, right? He had bought his house. His house was bigger than mine. He would always do it up bigger. So I'm at his house, right? And we're just there, and he had the big jug of Hennessy, the big one. So we're right there drinking Hennessy, and we're doing yay. And we're just like high as just singing songs by Los Tucanes de Tijuana. And he loved Tupac. So we're just hearing Tupac and Los Tucanes. And we're just like, back to back. And whoever's watching this is like, how can that be a beautiful man? But it is, because he's no longer with me, and that was like, whatever, we were high. But it was a beautiful moment, because we hung out together, and we didn't care. We're singing songs, and at that point, we're reminiscing of all we've been through up to that point, like, fool, this, and that, right? So then, time passes. What else happens?
You've got your own house at this point. Is anyone living with you?
Nah, I have I live in a gated community. We both live in a gated community, gated streets. And, we still miss LA though. We still want to go home. And it was great. He always used to tell me, he's like, hey, Rabbit, this is home. And I'll be like, no, this is not home. But with time, I started loving TJ. Like, that's like my second home. People ask me, I'm like, nah, it's my second home. Like, that's where I found my voice. And that's another thing. I had stopped recording. I did music. So when this happens, it's like, I can't do music anymore, you know? Cause that's gonna it's gonna leave a paper trail right to me, you know? So that brought depression and all this So when we're in TJ, I meet up with this dude from Mexico City that we were friends, AOL days. He was a rapper from Mexico City, relocated to TJ. We were in this swap meet that's underground. It's called La Cinco y Diez. Go up to this one thing where they sell hip hop things and gang member clothes, Dickies and Ben Davis and shit like that. They link me up with the dude. I call him. I go to he tells me to pull up to the studio. I go to the studio. And he's like, man, you down to do a song with me? I'm like, I'll do a verse for you. What could be the harm, you know? And then I do this verse, and then I'm like, I want to record again. I want to start recording again. Start going through Yellow Pages, start calling studios. And this is like, you know, dude answers at this one studio, right? It's in Playas de Tijuana, right on by the beach. He had a weird accent, Spanish accent. So I told him, hey, where you from? From South America? He goes, yeah, from Chile. I'm like, all right, do you guys have Pro Tools? He goes, yeah. You got Neumann's and Sennheisers. I need like a real mic. Yeah, we got a whole closet of everything. You know, so I'm like, can I go check it out? Yeah, you can, come down. It looks like this. It was like nice in Mexico, a real studio like this, recording studio. So that started. And then it became more of a thing of like, I want to document all this because, you know, tomorrow's never promised, you know? And you know, water. Some people might like, you know, I don't know, I just going through the, you know, through the motions and shit, whether it was right or it was wrong. I was just trying to survive, you know? And so okay, so we're living at the houses, right? And then we're meeting new people. All these things are going on, more things, and we're getting into more stuff. And there's the city's at war, you know, and we're not involved in it. Look, this is another thing, because there's like a little misconception that I belong to a cartel, and I didn't. I know cartel people. You're gonna meet them over there. Over there, you might meet a dude, and he's a cop, and he's like, hold on, my compadre's coming over, and this compadre is part of the cartel, and then his compadre is the main DA, and then so you meet people over there, you know, and you do things while you're on this journey, but I never like, you know, look, a cartel is like a businessman. First of all, I would have to be on a level you're making money to be considered part of that anyways. My level would be this. And yeah, I was asked to be this. You know, but you know, I stayed on the sidelines. I always stayed on the sidelines, you know. I stayed out of it because like deep down inside I wanted to come home. Even though I started liking the city, liking where I was at, I was adapting to it. I wanted to go home, you know. At some point, I don't know if I had faith or hope, even when I didn't have faith or hope, but like, you know, I didn't want to get in deeper. I was already in some I was already in trouble, basically. Why make it worse? And I did make it. There was times when I did make it worse, you know, but I didn't. I don't know. We were doing shit, don't get me wrong. And if you fuck with what I was doing, you were gonna get it. That's anybody though over there, you know. Over there, life is cheap. It has no value. So you fuck around over there, someone's gonna give it to you. There's no, you know, you can't play with it like that. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up, that I wasn't from this or that. I met dudes from this one, and that one. They're cool people. Some are dicks. Some are, you know, it's just they're people. You meet these people, you know, and or you meet people that are with these people, and that's how you get around all of them, you know. But you don't. And when I got there, it wasn't like how it is right now. Right now, it evolved into some other shit now, you know. When I got there was just the main ones, you know, like the TJ had their people right there. And then down a couple of states, those people were doing their shit. On the other side of Mexico, on that corner over there, the Gulf people were over there. Juarez had their people. You know, there wasn't that many. But then they now there's a bunch of them, you know? So like as I said, and I met dudes that were from one and then got into another one and then didn't work out when they went to another one. And there's a lot of that. It's a business. It's not really like, oh, I'm being loyal or you're unloyal. It's more like, it doesn't make sense over here anymore. Let me go over here and make money with these guys. And so again, I never was like from a particular, you know, yeah, I was in different little crews of like-minded individuals that were on survival mode trying to eat. But who's not going to do that? You know, if you're in hell, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to have to play with the fire a little bit, you know, regardless of how much you want to play with it, but you're going to play with it a little bit, you know. And then you asked me earlier, did I know anybody from Logan? I did. I have real good friends from Logan. I have 3 good friends from Logan. And this time I remember so now let me see, because right when I met them, what had happened? Something had happened.
Just explain to the viewers then, in the UK especially, because in the UK, many people have not been to Mexico. So perhaps they've seen Narcos or some other dramatization of the Logan crew going down, working for the cartel and the gunfights and all that stuff. So that's what like UK viewers have probably seen.
Well, by this time when I'm over there, that already happened.
Yeah.
That's not happening. I mean, they're there, you know, and they are who they are, and they have a lot of legends, you know, from the Logan Heights area. They have a lot of like you know, famous people, and they made their mark in the city, you know, for sure they did, you know, and but like I was saying, like I didn't know them, you know, I didn't know them at all. So later I meet this one guy, right? He's the one that told me to come to your podcast to link up with you, because he was
shout out. Thank you.
Shout out to the homie.
Yes.
And then so I meet him, right? And he had just came from the feds and the state prison, and he was there with my co-defendant's dad that's been down 40 years now, the lifer too. So I meet him and he tells me, what you call it says to look out for his boy. I'm like, man, his boy's a mastermind. He don't need no looking out for. And then they were close. And then he goes, okay, so then you must be. He put it together, because I would never tell nobody I'm Conejo. Nobody. I would never. A lot of people, they still call me Angel, because that was one of my first IDs was Angel. So a lot of people over there still call me Angel, Angel. And you know, and then he invited me to the sweat lodge with them, and then I started sweating with them, and I started with them, you know, because all 3 of them had did over a decade. One that the other guy did 2 decades, over 2 decades. So I could trust them, and they were just cool people, you know. I could them, and we're on some spiritual shit, going in these sweat lodges, and it would take the stress off, you know, because I was under a bunch of stress, and you know, get my mind off of things, you know. So right before that, some shit happened. So what had happened was, okay, another thing happened.
Just to backtrack then. So you're in your house now, you've got your own house in a gated community.
Yes.
You've gone back to doing music. Everything's going
good. So, I mean, it goes good and bad, you know. There's no way it's going to stay good.
Okay.
Because there's just too much, there's too many, the dynamic of the city is just, there's just too much going on.
So what happens next?
Okay, so I end up having a daughter. My daughter was born in the U.S., right? So then, after the mom comes back with my daughter, when she's like 3 months old, 3 or 4 months old, we didn't get along. So since I was more stable, she's like, I'm out. Here's your daughter. You take care of her. And I'm like, what the future? How am I gonna raise a little girl? But I did. And that was like a turning point right there for me too, you know, because it was like, it like made me step back from stuff. But I still had problems. There was a lot of people that didn't like me, and if they got the chance, they were gonna get at me, with or without a baby in the way. So I just have to be very careful now, because now I have a little girl. You know, it made it even more tougher, because she's a little girl. You know, a little girl will love you in a different way. So, you know, and then, so what happened, I wonder if it happened right here. Yeah, it did. So what happened, okay, there was this dude, right, that we used to fuck with over there. I'm going to rewind a little bit back. So we met, my guy knew him. My guy knew him from prison. So we ended up linking up with this dude, right? So then everything was cool. One day I went to the studio that was like on the 5th floor of these like apartments, right? And over there we would carry like 4 or 5 cell phones, everybody. So like I had a phone just to talk to Sean. I had a phone just to talk to Omar. One to talk to the homie Parallax over there, right? And then, so I left some of them in the car, and I just took up some ones I needed. I was up there, and I had my daughter with me. So all day they were blowing me up, but I didn't know, because I didn't come down. I was up there. So this dude, I don't know where he came with this, but he was saying that I was that someone told him that I was already in the LA County jail, and that I was telling on my guy, and that if I wasn't, I need to get done. So when I get to the car, I see it, tons of missed calls. I start driving back towards the house. The studio was also in Playas, so I start driving back over there towards the casino. And my guy called me. So when he called me, so when he called, that meant he was around the corner, get ready to buzz the gate open. You know, we just did it like that. So he calls, and my co-defendant, and I'm like, I'm almost there. Are you already right there? He's like, nah. Fool, you haven't answered. I'm like, yeah, I was up there. I was up there on top. That's why I didn't take all the phones. But it was kind of weird, because the other guy already had planted that seed of mistrust. So I'm like, and me, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm like, something's up. Then they sent a dude to my house to check up on me. As I remember I'm getting off my daughter. You know, I'm putting everything in the house, and he starts, and this guy, he was like, he was on my level. Like he was like a gopher. Go get this, go for this, go for that. But kind of under me. And he's asking me like questions, and I'm like, and I talked to him like, he ain't shit. Like, what? Like, I just talked to him like, so I don't know this, but I'm already on the hit list. So I put it together. Once that happened, I was like, damn. So I'm waiting for it. So I got these things ready, but it's bad all the way around. I don't know if I could win, because sometimes when those people, you got problems with those people, they send the government in, because the government works with them. So they'll send in the federal police, get that fool out, or kill him, or bring him to us, and then, you know. So it didn't happen. So one day, 2 days, my guy shows up, and I'm pissed, and I tell him like, man, fool, that hurt my feelings, fool. Like, why? He goes, why you didn't shut it down? He goes, I did shut it down. I'm the one that shut it down. I go, why you even let it go? He goes, that fool pumped that shit up, and he pumped it up to like a boss. That's why it snowballed real quick. But I'm the one that killed everything. I'm like, that dude. I'm never f***ing with that dude again. So forgot about that dude, right? Now we're going to forward maybe like 3 years ahead, because my daughter's like 3 now. So this dude, I talk about this on my podcast. I don't say no names, because I don't want to do that, you know? For those that don't know, I have a podcast on Spotify. It's called Inside a Sinister Mind. So this dude, okay, so this is what happens. I go to church on Sunday, right? Because I just thought it was a cool thing, take my daughter to church. So I would take her to this Christian church, but I would do my business from there, because it was so much I could hide, and I'd be texting my ass off, doing everything from there, right? And then I had made some friends, you know? And then they you know, like Christians, they do this little baptism. But this church was online, so I was always like in the cut. They would like film everybody. They would stream it live. So these people, they're doing like the little Christian version of a baptism. And I was like, can you guys baptize my daughter? I can't be on there. Like, I didn't was telling them, but I'm like, I can't be on the live stream. This fool's been gone for like, at that point, okay, because my daughter was born in 2008. So by that point, I've been on the run like 6 years or whatever. So in 6 years, he's nowhere. Now he's on the Christian church streaming channel, you know, like, I'm like, so they were cool with me, you know, and I met and I was doing all kinds of, I was just like I was on a journey for knowledge. I read like over 300 books in this time. I was training martial arts. I was just like, I was treating my house like if it was prison. I was like on shoot program. I'll work out in the back. Then I'll have my PlayStation room where I was like, play SOCOM, Black Ops and that. All that wasn't out yet. I would play Grand Theft Auto, and then and then I had another room with my studio, recording studio. By this time, I'm just like, I'm flooding the game. I'm like dropping albums all the time. And so allegedly, the dude that stirred shit up for me in the first time, he gets robbed for something that adds up to a little bit over $500,000. So I don't know this. I don't know anything what's going on, right? So I go to church, and then we would have this like little routine. We go to this chicken place, get some little chicken, eat. Well, we get different, but that day we got some chicken. We ate, then we went home. My daughter, I put her in her room so she could take a nap. I took a little nap, and then I came out to wash my car. So as I'm washing my car, I live in a gated community, and every street is gated too. So to get in my street had about I think I had, I don't know if it has 21 or 32 houses. No, it's 21. So this is a Sunday, right? So on Sundays my street's always like dead. Like there's no cars going in and out, there's nothing. People are just hunkered down in their pad, and that's it. So I'm out there washing the car, 2 SUVs pull up in the front, outside the gate. And these dudes look like you. They look like white boys. But there's parts of Mexico where the people look white. People, they're not dark like me, or there's different shades in Mexico. There's, you know, look at Canelo Alvarez. Look at, you know, Carlos Slim. He's Lebanese. You know, but there's a lot of different types of Mexicans. So these dudes, they're looking at me. They're grilling me. And I'm like, what the what could this mean? This could mean something bad. And I'm acting dumb, but I'm like watching them, and they're waiting for someone to enter or exit so they could come in. And it's crazy because they were parked exactly where the dudes that arrested me were parked when I got arrested. In this, because this is my street, and they're like here, like across the street, but this is a street like this.
Deja vu.
Yeah, so they're there and they're looking at me. My daughter's like out walking around where like 3-year-old little girl is. I get her, I put her back in the living room. She comes back out. So now it's like 10 minutes have passed, and they're just looking at me. And I'm washing the car. I'm like, that. I go and I go get that.
Were they pelones?
No, there's no pelones in Mexico.
Okay.
That's California.
Is it?
And I mean, there's some now, but that's not the culture in Mexico. A bald fool is like it's trying to bring attention to yourself. I mean, they might have been. I don't know. I didn't see all of them. I just could see the ones that were looking at me, right? So then I go get that, and I wrap it in the towel, and I have the SUV hatchback open in the back. So I put it right there, and I'm like, man, what the like the slowest 10, 15 minutes ever. But then if you keep going down the street, it's a dead end too. So they end up going down in the dead end. So I'm like, oh, okay, I was tripping. I'm always tripping. I'm paranoid, you know, I'm a fugitive. So everything means something to me, you know? So then another car shows up, but this one does a U-turn and is on like right next to the gate. The dude gets out of the car and he's waving me down. And I'm looking. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's like, hey, come outside. And I told him, nah, the state police would drive all through that gated community. And those are the ones that got me. Those are the ones that catch fugitives and everything. So I'm like, nah, it's hot. They would call them the Pepos. Because they were Policía Estatal Preventiva. They call them the Pepos. You know, so I buzzed them in. He came in. I buzzed the gate closed, so it closed right behind him. So he walks up all the way up to my house. And something like my gut, something's wrong. This fool got a weird look on his face. And then he tries to play with my daughter. And then by now I have it in my pocket. And I had sweat, so it's chunky. You could see it. It's like popping out in my leg, So he's like, I'm holding my daughter by my hand. And like I'm checking his whole body language. I'm like, his facial gestures, everything. I'm on him. And I know this guy. This guy's cutthroat. He's grimy. I know him. So this is a red flag right off the gate. And I'm like, wait a minute. Some 2 SUVs were there, and now he's here. Is that a coincidence or not? No, this is math. Everything is math, So whatever. He asked me about my friend. Have you talked to him? I go, man, I hadn't talked to him in 3 months. Okay, this would happen. I gotta go back on him a little bit. At around the 10-year mark for him being a fugitive, he decides, I want to go live in the U.S. And he crosses back over. We had a hookup that would cross people over, right? Because I was going to go to Disneyland one day. And so he ends up crossing over. He's low key. So now this dude is accusing, allegedly, that this guy stole something from him that's worth over $500K. So he's telling me this, right? And I'm like, I don't got nothing to do with it. I don't care. I don't want no part of it. I don't have no part in it, so I don't want to be part of it. And then he tells me, I'm not with TJ anymore. I'm with Sinaloa. But like, he's telling me that to like, maybe like intimidate me. And I'm like, that's cool. I respect that, but I'm on the sideline. I don't care. Like, yeah, but they're talking about smoking everybody that's from Harpies, the gang that I'm from, here on the border and in other places. And I'm like, how do they even know about me? They don't know about me. Who am I? I'm no one. How would they know about me? If they know about me, it's because you're over there throwing me under the bus. That's the only way. And he's like, nah, your family, I wouldn't do that. But right there, I'm like, oh, this fool's lying. I caught him. His face changed. Everything got weird, right? So he starts like gets out his phone and he starts calculating, look, this much, and it adds up to this. You got to help me get the money back or you got to help me get the stuff back. And I'm like, nah, I don't want no part of it. Why? Nah, I'm good. And then, so I'm just like, now I'm like, okay, it's the dudes over there. This is all one thing. And I've said this on other podcasts, like, I started hearing a voice in my ear say, man, blow this fool down right now. Smoke his ass. But I just couldn't, because I could have. But like what? There was going to be a dead body outside my front door? I live in a gated street. I'm sure everybody was looking out the window without me knowing. And so I'm like, but the voice is telling me like, give it to this fool. This fool's lying. Those trucks, everything is something. So he tells me, what I'm gonna tell you is gonna fuck you up, but I'm in deep shit. They're gonna kill me. So he tells me that the PFP, this is a different police force. This is the Mexican Federal Police. They changed their name now too. I think they're called Guardia Nacional now. But he tells me that the only reason he's not dead is because they had his phone tapped and they showed up to his house with a book of CDs of all his phone calls, and they knew he got robbed. So they were giving him a few days to get the shit back or he was out of there. That's what he's telling me. I don't know if that's true. Sounded real. It sounded about right. So I'm hearing him and I'm like, yeah, but this is the thing, man. I got nothing to do with it. I don't want to get involve myself in nothing that I have nothing to do with it. And then he tells me, well, I'm going to tell you something that's going to fuck you up. And then I'm just like, what? What is it? And, my daughter's trying to run away from me, but I'm like holding her. And then I'm holding my hands in my thing, holding this. And I'm like, what? He goes, I told on your boy to the PFP. But I didn't trip on that because the PFP can't do nothing. He's in the U.S. What, he told him what? That he got robbed? So I was like, so what? And then he tells me, and I told on your boy to the DEA. And when he said that, I was like, my soul came out of my body. Like I've never heard. I heard another dude say some shit that one time, and I didn't know if it was real or fake. And then I still don't know if it was real or fake. I don't know if he was playing around when he said it, but this dude, when he said it, he's confiding in me the secret. And he tells me I had to. And then I'm like kind of backing away, and I'm like, man, should I kill this fool right here, right now, or not? I don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So, Rabbit, you gotta help me. And I'm like, man, I can't. How? I don't want nothing to do with it. So all his phones start going off. He's the same too. He got 4 or 5 phones. And then he kind of he turns around, gives me his back. But I'm hearing it. I've been hearing for noises for 10 years at this point or whatever. 8 years or 6 years or 7 years, whatever. Oh no, 6, 9 years. I've been hearing voices and phone calls. And so I'm hearing this fool. They're telling him, what do you want us to do? And he's like, nah, hold up. He's talking to the 2 SUVs that are down in the dead end. So now I know people that he was with. They came to kidnap me. They want to kill me and my daughter. This other guy has told me this now that I know. So then and then when he turns around, he just looks grimy. Like, I know he's lying to me. And then he's like, nah. Okay, in Spanish though. He speaks Spanish. This fool had the worst. It's weird though that he didn't know Spanish right. It's just so I could pick it apart quick. And he's like, nah, just wait for me at the gas station. And when he says that, like 30 seconds later, I see the 2 SUVs pass up and they go. So I'm like, no, wait. Before that, he tells me, walk me to my car. He tries one more time, and I told him, nah, it's hot out there with the pepos, with the state police. And then that's when that, just wait for me at the Pemex. That's the gas stations over there. So I see him, boom, they go up. And then he's like, man, you got to help me. He's trying to tell me. And I'm like, so I buzz him from far. I buzz the gate open. As soon as he walks through, I buzz it closed right behind him. Boom, it shuts. I'm tripping. Now I'm tripping. I'm like, man, they're going to come again. So then I go to a madrina, a witch too. I call her first. And I'm like, madrina, some shit's happening. She's like, get over here right now. I'm like, man, I don't even know if that's safe. She's like, you're going to be all right. Just get over here. I don't know why I listen to her, but I go. She lived by the airport, Otay. So I go to Otay. Boom. She does a reading on me, whatever. She got deaths upon you. Deaths over your head hovering. But we're going to do some shit. Don't trip. We're going to feed the earth. That's a ceremony they do in Santeria where they like, in exchange for like your blood, they feed an animal's blood to the ground. They feed the earth, Mother Earth, some blood. But it's not yours. It's an animal. It's a goat and some roosters and some shit like that, right? Don't worry. Go home. Relax. We're going to be there in the morning with all the stuff because they have to go and get. This is nighttime. It's getting dark. You can't even buy a goat in the middle of the night. You know, and it's Sunday. You can't buy a goat Sunday in the night unless you know the guy. So I go back home. I'm tripping. I'm like pacing. Bulletproof vest is on. So now it starts getting nighttime. I'm looking out the window. I got cameras too. I got cameras everywhere. I got camera across the street. I got cameras. I got 4 cameras. I could see the shit. I'm just looking at it. I had it like on an iPad. So I'm looking at the little iPad. I'm looking out the window. I go downstairs. I come upstairs. And then my daughter, she comes to my room and she's I'm going to sleep in your bed, Dad, whatever. So she jumps up in my bed with a little blanket. She's asleep. I put a bulletproof vest on top of her. So she has her little blankets and a bulletproof vest on top of her. I made sure like the plate was like over like here, you know? And then so I'm like, at that moment, I just felt weak. I felt hopeless again. Back to that, like, oh man. But now every time I see I'm looking at my daughter, like my tears are coming off. I'm like crying, like what the fuck? Like, damn, that's a little girl right there. She was like all girl. She don't know she don't know her dad's a fugitive. She doesn't know that she drives around with me with guns in her baby diaper bag. You know, she don't know this. Sometimes I have one in her back. I put her in the cart seat and she's leaned up against one on her back because there's so many checkpoints in Mexico that I would think like they're not gonna make her get off. They'll make me get off, search the car, but they won't let her get off. And one day that I almost got caught like that. There was a checkpoint inside the gated community by the military. They raided a house. They found a whole house full of guns. The whole house was, that's all it was. It was like a armory, a stash house of guns. So they had a checkpoint right in front of it. And she was sick, so I was gonna go to the pharmacy. And when I hit that corner, I'm there. There's no way. And I'm like, oh, they're like, turn off the car, get out of the car. And they're like, can you get the little girl out? And I'm like, she's sick. And he's like, and? I'm like, well, she's sick. I'm going to the pharmacy to get her some medicine. She has a crazy fever. She has a flu. She's sick. I don't want to get her sick. So they kind of like searched, like, because the military is different. They're rude. They're all different, like, And then, so that was that story. But then back to the other story. So in the night, I'm just pacing back and forth. I'm losing my mind. I'm like, I'll sit down on the wall. I'll like, like trying to think this out. Okay, what am I going to do? So I'm like, if they come, I'm going to go out my back door on the second floor and put my daughter on my neighbor's roof. I'm going to come back down and I'm going to just go at it with these fools. I'm trapped, because I'm like, it's like I'm in a dead end the way the house is. There's no back, and the houses that are behind me, the walls like 3 stories. There's no way I could go up. I have to be a ninja, So I'm waiting for these fools all night. Well, actually, I was trying to like that. I was going to turn myself in that day. I was like, this is enough. This ain't enough of this shit. She's going to get hurt and that's it. I'm going to just drive to the border. Hey, I'm a fugitive. My daughter's an American citizen. I have family in America. They'll come get her. That was like my plan. Or, see, the U.S. Embassy, the consulate, is in Otay. It's by the airport. So I was like, if I just wait till 2 or 3 in the morning when there's no traffic, even if they chase me, I'll smash right into I'll smash right in. They'll probably fire on me, but I'll smash right in. These fools won't go. They won't follow me all the way in. They'll probably fire on me too. I'll probably get fired on from both sides. I don't know. But that was my options. Go to the border or go to the embassy or whatever, the consulate, whatever it is. But at the same time, I was like, I'll be intercepted. They're sitting on me. I don't know if I'll make it. How can I make it? I needed to call somebody to go roam my whole vicinity and tell me what cars, if there was any SUVs, 2 of them together so I could know, But at that point, I was like blocked off mentally. I had like, when they say writer's block, I have fugitive block. I have criminal block. Like, what could I do at this moment, So I stayed up all night. Sort of like right now in London, I've got jet lag. I don't know, my sleep's all off. All night till the sun came up. A few hours later, they show up. We do that Santeria ritual right there in the pad. We feed the ground. Kill some animals. They do a reading. You're going to be all right. So then, I believed it. But at the same time, I was a little bit skeptical. So like I had my daughter, I had her, she was in private school, dance school, swimming school, piano classes, everything. I was a dad, She don't know nothing. She's just being a little girl, like, so she needed some school supplies. So I had to get out of the house. I had to go. So when I came back, there was a paper on my door with his initial of his name, and it said, call me. The dude that went to my house telling me that he snitched on my boy to the DA, his number was on a piece of paper on my door. Call me. So now I'm pacing my house 2-3 hours. Do I want to call him with this phone? No. Because they're recording the shit. Told me the Mexican federal police is recording all his phone calls. But that was a new number. So I just was like, should I call him? So over there, they got things called casetas. They're like little Superman booths, a bunch of them. There'll be a bunch of them, like 10 of them. They're getting rid of them because, no one's using payphones anymore. But you go and you make a phone call from right there. So I win. I call this fool, right? I don't know if I did or I called from a payphone. Because, Mexico uses those little, it's like you put a debit card into the cell phone. I don't know. Or the caseta. I'm kind of, it's blurry. Just a lot of things have passed, And Because I remember, side note, a little bit back, I remember David Ayer, the director. I had talked to him in years, but he has 2 nightmares where I get chopped up in pieces. So he reaches out to somebody. He has some people locate some people to locate my people, and he's here shooting the movie Fury with Brad Pitt and all of them. They're shooting it here because they shot it here. And I call this number, and I call, and they're here. I call London, but up there wherever. So I call, and I'm like, he's like, hey, are you good? I had these nightmares about you, and I'm like, man, get me the out of here. If you can't, get me the out of here, because there was a lot of going on. People were dying left and right. Like, I kind of, I don't know why I skipped it but there's a lot of death happening. A lot of murders are happening throughout this whole story that I've been telling you. And so I'm telling him this. He goes, yeah, when I get back, I'm gonna get this lawyer and I'm gonna bring you home. Cool. And I lose contact with Dave. I lose contact with him. So back to over there. So I end up going to one of those things to call him, right? So I call him, and he's not picking up because he doesn't recognize the number too. So I call again. When they pick up, you don't hear nothing. So I'm like, hey. So that they knew that we do that. Hey. And then he's like, hey, is this your new number? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, don't trip. We could talk. My line is clean. I'm like, man, no. What's up? He goes, man, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. There's no other way around it. I'm like, man, I don't want no part of it, bro. I'm doing my own shit. I got my own life going on. You know, I'm a father. I'm doing this shit. Don't get me involved in nothing that I'm not involved in. I'm not. And he was just like going on about it. And I just had to cut him off. I told him, man, you know what? You take good care of yourself, man. I'm out. Boom, I hung up on him. And then I was just, again, like, now what? See, but side note, okay, I know somebody that was close with him at one point, that was around him at this time. And he has told me, he goes, they tried a gang of times to kill you. You were just so elusive. It's because I kept switching cars. I had different cars, so I would put some in, switch out, and and that fool didn't know I had the 2 other cars. So the main car that day they came, I put that one up. So then he was just like, they were trying so bad. Like, he was pushing them. He was pushing the cartel to get you. Even though you had nothing to do with it, he was pressing and they were trying. So when all this happens, right, when that first time he went, I call my guy. I call and I'm like, hey, man, fool, this fool's talking about he gave you up to the D. He's like, man, that weak-ass fool. Who ain't shit. Who can't do nothing. I don't give a what he says or what he ain't, he ain't doing nothing over here. And so, and my understanding was they gave him a phone call and they told him, like, a hair gets touched on rabbit, you got family over here. So we're gonna get with your family over here. And we're not gonna respect nothing. No moms, no sisters, no nothing. It's gonna be on and cracking. And he was like, no, Rabbit's family. But he was just saying that because the other dude told me, like, no, that fool was trying to he wanted you dead. He wanted, even though you have nothing to do with it, but you were guilty by association from the other people. So he wanted to take it out on you. And those people were like, okay, whatever. So it got so hot for him that he crossed back into the U.S. I was like, I was relieved. When I heard, I was like, yeah, that's one problem out of the way. But I still had more problems. There was more problems, And then, so more years pass. Now it's getting close to where I'm going to get arrested. So I remember, and by this time I'm all involved in the Afro-Cuban religions. Palo Mayombe, I'm initiated. I have all these vessels, these things that my saints and my ancestors and this, and I'm all up in it. I'm always at the sweat lodge. I'm on this spiritual journey, right? Even though, it could get out of hand easy. If you f me, I'm gonna get out of hand with you, But I don't want that. I'm trying to do the right thing, and I'm just reading all these self-help books, and I got homies that are Freemasons now, and they're trying to get me to join the lodge, but I don't want to do it because I feel like they're the Illuminati. They're gonna know my real name. They're gonna turn me in, you know. And so you know, it's cool. But again, there's a bunch of, it's because there's so much that happened. My friends are dying. They're killing people, and they're catching fugitives constantly. So I would always be on it. I was always checking the news, and now I have cops that were my friends, you know, but they just thought I was deported. So they would sometimes tell me like, yeah, we caught a fugitive today. And I'll be like, oh, really? How does that happen? We don't care about fugitives. It's someone always gives a tip to the U.S., then the U.S. comes and does the research, surveillance, then they give us the thing, and then we have to bring them in. That's how it happens. We don't give a f. We got our own problems over here. But when they start bugging, then we got to bring them in. So I would fish for information and use it to like, okay, and I would kind of dodge the state police because I never seen it, but I had heard that they had this little, like an iPad where you just put your hand and it will run you. Yeah, you could tell them whatever you want, but that iPad's going to bust out everything, dental records, everything. It was, so I would always like kind of dodge them. And they were in the news because they were robbing people, killing people. They were just the state police. So, you know, and they'll go to your house, wipe you out, take all your furniture, your cars, your plasmas. They don't give a f coming out the house with everything. So I was dodging those dudes. I was just maneuvering. So at this point, my wife comes into the scene. See, before I went on the run, I was dating her. So one day I'm hanging out with my boy from Logan, right? He was like, hey, take me to buy these specific work boots he wanted. And I was in Puerto Peñasco. Okay, look, I went to Puerto Peñasco for 10 days. So I came back black from being in the sun. I was dark, you know? And the first day I came, this is the second day. First day I got back, I went straight to the sweat lodge. And then the next day he comes over, right? So let's go. So I had this like little soccer mom van type vehicle. It's low key. So I won't get pulled over. I just look like a regular dude, you know? And then I Googled my wife just randomly, you know? And then I had seen some pictures that she had got married. And I was like, you know, we were dating before I went on the run. So now I'm like, and then, oh, she's a business owner and her number's here. So I'm telling this story to my boy and he's like, call her, fool. So I go to one of those places, those casetas, those phone booths again. And I call and her sort of like her secretary picks up. And I ask for her. And she's all, who's this? And I'm like, oh, tell us an old friend. Yeah, but I need to write down a name. I can't just write old friend on the message. She's in a meeting right now. Well, I told her, tell her it's Angel from the big house because she went to see me once or twice in TJ at that mini mansion. Once for New Year's and I think once only. And it was crazy because I remember I had told her, hey, I got $7,000 on me. Let's go to Chicago together. I got a hookup over there where I could get ID with no fingerprints. Come on. And she was like, nah, I just got accepted to Long Beach State. I'm going to college. You tripping. Be a fugitive wife, fugitive girlfriend. So I'm telling my guy, and then he's like, man, just call her, fool. Just one time. So I call, and then they're like, call back. So I call back again. And then I'm like, hey, the same thing, hey. And then she's like, hey. And I go, you know who this is, right? She's like, yeah. I go, okay, I want you to go get a burner phone right now, and I'll call you back. I hung up. I came back like 30 minutes later. She gave me a number, and I went and bought a new burner phone, and then I called her. And she was just like, you know what? I don't care where you're at and around the world. I'm going to jump on a plane right now and go see you. But I'm like, I thought you're married. She's like, nah, it's over with. I'm like, what? And then she was like, and I go, you have a son, right? She goes, no, I have 2 sons. And I go, cool, I'm going to give you a daughter. And she's like, okay. So 2 days later, she shows up in TJ. When I tell her where I'm at, I'm like, I'm at the big house. She's like, what? The rumors about you are crazy. I thought you were in China. I thought you were in Australia. I thought you were in somewhere, Europe. Like, it's just, the rumors are just, it's just like, I hear so much about you everywhere, you know? And then 2 days later, she shows up. I pick her up at the border. I was all like incognito, hat, glasses, circling blocks. She told me she thought I was on meth. Because I was like watching, counting cars. Like I'll stop just to see if that car was, let it pass me up, make a left. I was just like real precautious, right? She goes, I thought you were tweaked out. You were tripping me out. And I'm like, nah. And she knows I don't. By this time, I wasn't partying. I never partied with that anyways, ever, you know? And then, you know, so we started dating. You know, I'm over here. I start falling in love with her. And then she's just like, man, we're getting a lawyer. You're coming home. But I can't bring my daughter because, you know, I'm going to have to go to jail for, I know I'm going to have to sit in there about 2 years. You know, because usually murder cases are like 2-year trials or 3, something like that, right? So I'm just like, I'm like, it's like a battle in my head over this thing. How could I tell my daughter that this is happening? This is gonna happen, and I didn't want to be separated from her. And I just like I was having a like turmoil within me, you know, because this has been my little partner since she was born. She's been riding with me dirty like all these years, and by now like we were sharing her and her mom, right? So she would stay with me Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No. Her mom would get her on Monday. I would take her to school. Her mom would pick her up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, I would pick her up from school and she'd stay with me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the last Sunday we spent together, it was weird. Other things that happened in religion with divination that told me my time was up. I had to go face my issues. And I didn't want to, you know. I did, but not yet, because it was telling me it's happening now. And I'm like, oh, So then that last Sunday I was with my daughter. She came to my room and she's like, Daddy, I love you. Good night. She went back to her room. She was like, me. She comes back like a minute later, Daddy, I love you. Good night. And every time she did it, it was hurting me more. I was just like, Daddy, she did it like 4 or 5 times, whatever. And every time she did it, I just felt like it was just killing me, like, oh man. And then I had a watch, right? And I was like doing something, and boom, the strap snapped. And I swear I heard a voice in my head say, your time is up. I heard it in my head. You're done. It's over. Your time is up. So a week before that, I did a ceremony in Santeria. It's called Santo Lavado. You receive this one saint. It's an all-day ceremony. And this Cuban dude, right? He does everything, and he does a reading for me. And everything's cool. Everything's like cool. And then in the end, he goes, oh, he looks at me, and I'm like, what? And he tells me, someone that was your friend was never your friend, and he's already betrayed you. So I'm like counting out a friend. I didn't consider that other dude a friend. So I'm like, it can't be him. You know, my friends were one hand less, maybe 4 fingers. So that I with, you know, that knew where I lived. No one knew where I lived. I've never take nobody to my house for this, but that other dude knew where I live. So I kind of already, it was coming. So one day, I take my daughter to school that Monday morning. I come back, go to the gym, and then the next day by this time I was assistant instructor at this like Mexican YMCA in TJ. It's called El Creat. It's like a sports center. So I was like teaching kids like self-defense. I was the assistant instructor. So I had this little badge. So it was part of my alibi, you know, per se. Like if I got stopped, what do you do? I used it before. I'm a karate teacher. Teach, you know, at-risk youth, martial arts, and this and that, and you know, make it sound good, you know, my alibi. So then I had noticed weird there one day. There was a white guy we were meditating, and there was something told me to open my eyes. I opened my eyes, and there was a white guy on a yoga mat doing yoga in front of the door, and I'm like, what the And then I seen some other white guy. And then one day, me and my girl were at the beach, at the boardwalk, around these days, and a big-ass black dude and a big-ass white boy walked right by me, but I felt their energy. And then we posted up, and I told my girl, are they looking? I made her, like, I hugged her so she could look that way. She's like, yeah, they're straight looking at us. And I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. So it was coming. There was little signs of this. So now I took her to school on Monday. Now it's Tuesday. It was raining on Monday night. Tuesday, the sun was out. Nice, beautiful day, but cold. I had sweats, some sandals, a hoodie. And my boy had called me from the religion. And he's like, hey, we want to come over there with these African dudes, and we're going to have a drum session at your pad. Okay, come over. So I was going to go throw the trash out, like big trash bag, black trash bag. So I would have to go out the gate, make a left, take the lock off the thing, and the trash was in there. So there's like 3 steps to do this. I was right about to go out the door, and I go, hold on, let me check the iPad. Oh, because there was, those guys were parked, days before, there was a navigator parked right there. And there was like little things going on like that, right? So I was going to go out the door, and I'm like, hold up, let me check the cameras. And I seen, and there was a car parked right there with 2 dudes in it. And they didn't know that on that side that they were at, there's another gated street, right? And the first house was a 3-story house, and my guy lived in that house. So I had a camera on the 3rd floor looking down, so I could see what he was doing. He was texting and taking notes on a pad. But I couldn't see it, I just see what they were doing. So I'm like, who are they? I waited like an hour and they wouldn't leave. I'm over here, I got the pull-up bar in the house. I'm doing pull-ups, smoking, just trying to kill time, before my friends came over and they would leave. I just want to throw the trash, And then I would go look out the side of the house, and I could see him like, I'm tripping. Maybe it's not nothing. It's nothing. So I decided to go throw the trash. I go out there, and I have the control in my pocket. So what I do, I don't buzz the gate open. I buzz it right when I'm right in front of it. I buzz it open, and I make that left to go throw trash. As soon as I make a left, I look out the corner of my eyes. They're looking at me. I'm like, so I just threw the trash bag close to the thing. And as I'm walking back, I buzz it so it starts closing. So that way it could, like if anything happened, I could just go in like this. At the exact same time, a Ram truck came straight at me. Boom, hit the gate, knocked the whole gate off the rail. And I jumped out the way. The 2 dudes were already running. They tackled me. And I could hear in Spanish, like, he's going to kick. Cuff his feet. He's going to kick. Because they had been watching me training. And then they just put all the guns in my head. Boom, boom, boom. No, in like Spanish. No te muevas, hijo tu puta madre. Te mato a la verga. Basically like, don't move, motherfucker. I'll smoke your ass. Boom, boom, boom. They wrap me up, cover my head. Boom, throw me in that truck. And it's crazy. When the truck hit the gate, I jumped out, but we looked at each other. And he made a face like, oops. Like saying like, I just fucked up your whole gate for the whole street. And this is the big metal steel gate on a like, so that it's coming at you. Steel's coming at you. So I jumped out the way. They tackled me. Boom, boom, boom. Wrap me up. Cover me up. Snatch. It's like a kidnapping. They kidnapped me like in 5-10 seconds. Quick. They put me in the car. My feet were cuffed. They cuffed me to the bottom of the truck. It had a thing for it because I guess dudes had escaped on them before. So I'm like, I got cuff here. They got my head down. They're like, kind of like trying to like punk me. Don't move. Shut the fuck up. This and that. And I'm just like, my life is flashing before me because I think it's a kidnapping. I'm thinking the dude had got me kidnapped now. So I'm thinking about my daughter. I'm thinking about my family. I want to see my mom. I'm just like, everything. In that situation, you're going to remember everything like in slow motion, but like, man, they're going to be sad without me. This is bad. Like, you think so many things, right? But at the same time, I know, even though I can't see, I know where I'm going by the way the engine is revving, and I can feel we made a right, we made a left. Okay, they're taking me to the back. I'm like, they're going to take me to a security house. They're called casas de seguridad, where they torture fools, they interrogate fools. So I'm like, they're going to take me one of those, and they're going to go to work on me, right? So as we're going, boom, 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 uncover my head, and I look, and there's a packet of papers on the floor, like this, and my picture's on that packet. And the guy tells me, he tells me in Spanish, like, "What's up, Conejo?" And I don't react to it. And then he's like, "What's up, Mr. Martin, my last name." I don't react to it. And then they're like, it's flapping. There's a picture of me crossing. So they had a drone on one of the days where I crossed from my guy's house across the street to my street, my gated street. I'm like walking with like 4 phones in my hands. So the picture's from up. So it had to be like a little drone, because like 2 weeks before, there was a truck parked right there. I remember when they took that picture. Once I seen it, I know when that picture was taken. And then, so then they're like, "You're out of here. You're going back to your country." So then I kind of like eased up a little bit. I'm like, "All right." And I tell them like, "Hey, I'm out of here. Who cares? Who told on me? Who was it? I think I know who it was." And then they started laughing. They're like, "Well, we're going to give you a clue. We're going to give you a clue." He goes, "This person called the U.S. and told them exactly where you were. They came, they did surveillance on you, and then they brought the folder to our table. Go get this guy. This is everything. The only reason we sat on you some more because we thought you were doing other shit. That's it." And then he goes, "You were elusive. We've been trying to get you for 2 weeks. You move too much, and your patterns are different every day, and you're not, you made it hard for us. You made it hard on us." And then they were cool, and then so I was like, "Can I make a phone call? My daughter's in school. I need to make sure the mom's gonna get her and everything's cool. What's your daughter's school?" Like, they didn't believe me at first. So I told them the name. They Googled it. They called the school. The principal answers. I knew her. And I told her, "Yeah, it's, Kay's dad." "Oh, okay, is everything all right?" "Yeah, can I talk to Kay real quick?" Yeah. My daughter's playing in the playground." So she must have been like 7 or 8, I think. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. She was more than 7, because at 7 years old, when she turned 7, I remember her birthday gift was her initiation into the religion, and she got initiated and got her saints. And so I tell her, I get on the phone with her and I tell her, "Hey, mommy, the police has me and they're taking me back to where grandma's at." And she starts screaming and crying. And but I told her like, no, don't cry. You're a big girl. You're going to be all right. Tell the principal you want to call your mom and have your mom pick you up. Okay. Yeah. So tell the principal you want to call your mom so she could pick you up. And then, and later you're going to get a call from the family. Don't worry. It's going to be all right. She's crying. Okay. Like listening to all my, all the steps that she's supposed to take. So then they take me to the hospital first, because I think I had some scratches when they rushed me, and then like elbow scratch, I was bleeding in little spots. Then they took me somewhere else, like their immigration, signed some papers, and then they took me. No. Well, I don't know. I sent you that picture, my arrest picture from Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went there first to their command center, and they had the paparazzi ready for that, and that's that picture. And then I went to the hospital. I went to all these little steps, and then they take you that walk when they walk you into the U.S. That they like you see the fugitive. I've seen it and I'm like, damn, now I'm doing it. It's crazy. So I'm like shackled, waist shackles, my feet. So I'm like, and it's crazy. So they take me in there, uncuff me. The U.S. is like, sit down right there with no handcuffs or nothing. And they're like, what's your name? And I give them my name. What's your social? And they're typing. They're like, there's nothing coming up. So I'm like, what the maybe I wasn't a fugitive all these years. Should I just get up, like walk out this bitch? Because there's a gang of Americans right there that are getting kicked out of Mexico for being drunks and partying and f***ing up. And fools are just walking out into the U.S. So I'm like, should I just get up and walk out or what? And I swear I sat there for like 1 hour. And after an hour, something popped up and it's like an old school Immigration, Border Patrol. Now it's Homeland Security. I don't know, one of them. ICE. He comes. That guy needs to be over there. He can't be right here. So they sit me on this bench inside now. And then he comes back. He's like, why the is he not handcuffed? He needs to be handcuffed to the bench. And then I knew, oh, no, they're on. So then they're like, and then he comes back. He's like, put this motherfucker in a cell. So that was my first cell at the border. They put me in a cell. You know, when you see the steel toilet, you know, and it was cold. The AC was blowing. So I started doing some push-ups. And then I sat there for like 3 hours. So what happened was, once they had me, they called the LAPD Fugitive Task Force. And they were on another mission in Vegas. So when they got the call, they made it from Vegas all the way to San Isidro, San Diego in 3 hours. They get there. I see them coming with chains. Like, you know, when you go to court, you hear all the chains coming. So they opened it up. They chain me back up. And then one tells me, hey, I had just dropped a brand new video. I had dropped a video to a song called Stay Gangsterific. And he goes, I just watched your video yesterday. It's pretty good. And I'm like, all right, cool, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to respond to this. What do you say? Oh, thank you for the stream or whatever. So it was like 3 vehicles. So they put me in the it's like a minivan, right? So I'm in the middle one, and all it has is they have the front seats, and in the middle, on the side by the door, there's just one seat, like a bucket seat, and then there's one in the back, and they're armed. He's in the back, and he's just like, don't f around, because, you know, for what? And I was just, you know, in a way, I was kind of relieved, like a lot of, but now I have to face a different animal. The California state courts, the LA CCB court, the criminal courts building in downtown LA. So they're going, and we're smashing from San Isidro to LA, like 120 miles an hour. I feel like the van's gonna flip over, and I'm tripping out. I'm seeing all these American restaurants, and because I haven't been in the U.S. all these years, so I'm just looking at everything like. And you know, when you get to San Clemente, there's a checkpoint there. From San Isidro to San Clemente, there's a checkpoint. It's never open. I mean, it's open. You just drive through it. But that day they were out there, and I remember we pulled up, boom, 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 3 of us, and they flashed the badge and they did something. They opened up, go, 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 and I swear we made it from San Isidro, San Diego to 77th Division Police Station in LA like in about an hour. It usually takes 2 hours and a half. Man, they were flying, and I'm just like tripping out. And then when we finally exit off the 105 freeway, I don't know if it was the harbor or the 105. Then we start driving through the streets of LA, and I'm just tripping out. Like, there's bums everywhere. The homeless problem wasn't there when I left. My stomach's growling. I'm hungry as fuck. And so that problem wasn't there. So but I'm not paying it no mind. So I get to 77th Division. They book me. They fingerprint me. They do everything right. And then so they put me in this one cell. I'm in this cell. I asked if I could use the phone. So they bring me down. They leave me in this room with a phone. I only know one number, my girl's number. Call her number. She gives me somebody else's number. And then I start getting all these numbers. And then I start calling people. And then the next day in the morning, my attorney, Stuart Goldfarb, shows up. He shows up and he's just like, "Shalom, babe." He's like, "Fall back. I got this. You relax. I don't want you stressing out. Don't talk to nobody about your case. No details, no nothing. Just, I might not show up to your first court date because I'm getting all the paperwork ready." And let me tell you this. So my co-defendant, my friend, right? He got caught 2 years before me. 3 years. He got caught in LA mysteriously. But we know who told on him where to go find him, right? So they get him, the same thing, death penalty, whatever. He goes to prelim. After a year, they release him. They drop it on him. So I'm in Mexico. I hear this. I'm happy. I'm like, that's good news for me. And he goes, "No, when they got me, the FBI came to see me too. They want you, fool. You should lay low, fool. They're gonna go hard on you now because you're the last one. So I'm like, I was depressed. I'm like, man, just when I'm happy, you know. And so I go in there, right? I go back to the tanks, whatever, and they wake me up in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna clean this cell. We're gonna put you in another cell." So they put me in this other cell, right? So side note, I had another friend. He was a fugitive for 20 years. They arrested him 2 months before me. So I remember I was looking at this. There's this newspaper called Zeta. This it's all juicy gangster shit. It's like if they have an informant in every cartel because it's just all inside info, crazy, right? I came out and then I'm trying to get the issue, just so I could frame it and keep it, Because my boy's like, fool, you were on Zeta, you were the front cover, fool, you were the. And then, so when he went in there, they put him in a cell. They got something called Perkins. So Perkins, they could use informants to like trick you to give up some info. So they put him in there with a dude that was a homie, like bald, tatted up, but he was an informant, and he acted like if he was a fugitive as well, and they just brought him in for murder. So it got him comfortable, and they both started talking about. So he starts telling them the insights into his case, right? So I knew about this. So when I get to 70, I go to the same station, 77th Division. I get there, they put me in that other cell with another dude. I walk in, he's just laid out, and his arms were sticking out, and he had tracks all over his arms. You could tell he was a hype. He was a fanatic. So he don't know me. He don't know nothing about me. He don't know who I am or nothing. He looks at me. He's laying down. He's all, I'm sure he's kicking or whatever, or acting like he was. And he's like, "What you in here for? Rape?" And I'm getting ready to f him up. I'm like, "What the f you said?" And then, but there's a camera right there, and then the lights on, and then there's the mics right there. I'm like, "Oh man, they're gonna charge me more charges." So I'm like, "What'd you say?" And then he tried to clean it up. So then that threw me off. It threw me off completely. Then I'm not talking to him. I'm just standing by the window of the door. I'm just looking out. I'm still thinking about stomping him out. Or how should I put a blanket, hang the blanket over the bunk, and then just start stomping and get inside with him and just come up with the blanket covering us? I don't know. And then he starts asking me about my friend, like friends and ex-friends. He doesn't know what gang I'm from, but he's bringing them up. So I'm like, "Oh, this is what this is. This is crazy. This is Perkins." I didn't tell this fool shit. So the way it works over there, you get arrested on Monday. So you get arrested on Monday, right? You stay at the police station 3 days. On the third day, you go to court. And if you, right there, you get charged at court, and then they take you to the county jail. That's how California works. I don't know about Arizona.
Yeah, we're in the thing called a horseshoe for 2 or 3 days, see a judge, and then you get assigned.
You go to the county jail. So that's what happened to me. I get to the I go to court, right? I'm in there. Everybody knows I'm on all the news, LA Times. Everybody knows Conejo's been arrested in Mexico, and he's coming in. So I'm in there. I'm still wearing my sandals, my sweats, a hoodie. And dudes are like, "Oh, this fool," whatever. So I go to court, and then my attorney doesn't go. They send a public defender in because he told me he wasn't going to make it. So she comes in, and she's telling me, you're being charged with this, and that. And I tell her, "Well, how can I get bail? I'm trying to get bail." She's like, "There is no bail for death penalty cases." The whole tank went quiet, and everybody's just like looking at me like, "What the f?" And because not that I was thinking, if it's $1 million, I could get properties and my family, and we'll make this happen, for the bail, And then, there is no bail. You have no bail. Not for this case. And then they bring me into court, right? And then the judge tells me, that this is a that's what they're called, special circumstances case. And you're being charged with this, and this is like a death penalty case. I forgot how she breaks it down. Or a dude. I don't know if it was a dude or a girl. So then, that's like your soul leaves your body, right? Your soul leaves your body type of moment, right? And then, so whatever. Now I go back to the county jail. Now I'm going to get processed in the county jail. The whole process begins. So I haven't slept in 15 years now. I haven't slept. I'm tired. I'm in the county. It's like jet lag. That processing takes like 3 days. This, LA County Jail is huge. You go here, they move you here. You go to medical, then you go in all this movement, right? So then they ship me out to Supermax. That's an extension of the LA County Jail, but it's by Magic Mountain. It's called Wayside. And inside there they have Supermax. So I go to Supermax. I walk in. Everybody's on me, like, want to talk to me, asking me if I bring any dope, if this, that, and I'm tired. I slept for 3 days. I'll just get up for chow. They gave me an act. They're like, go ahead, just, you could tell you just been through some shit. They let me sleep for 3 days, and then I remember I get up, I'm using the phone. I get there, and then, the floors are polished concrete, right? So it's like kind of, how the jails are, right? So the way Supermax is a dorm. It's a 2-story dorm, and then there's a stairs on the side. So I'm on the phone with my back to the stairs, and then I start hearing squeaking. Boop, 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 bop, bop, bop. Someone's getting fucked up. So, and you're not allowed to look. If you look, you get fucked up too for looking, because you're gonna bring attention to what the situation. So I look, and they're fucking some dude up, and even my girl's like, "Is everything?" Because you hear all the squeaking, Nah, everything's cool. Is everything all right? Because I kind of went quiet. No, it's cool. Everything's cool. And then that's when I realized, like, I'm in another jungle now. Now I just entered another jungle now, And it was strange for me because I hadn't used my real name in 15 years. And I haven't used my nickname Conejo in 15 years. In the music, I'll use it, but you would never know. I never would tell anybody my name was Conejo because they had informants in Mexico. And, so I would never, so now it was weird that now I have to introduce myself again. I'm Conejo from Harpy's Dead End, So I'm introducing myself. It's just, I came back with like Mexican customs now. I feel Mexican now, I've always been Mexican, but now I feel Mexican. I miss Mexico. I miss Mexican, music, and I want to hear Spanish music, and I'm back in the jungle, like where I was birthed, So there's a little bit of a culture shock, and I'm, I'm seeing fights, and I'm like, damn, it's different, I was a fugitive,
Were the Chicanos beefing with the Pacers?
No, that doesn't happen in California. That doesn't happen.
Okay,
you're cool with them, and then for the most part, it's gonna be the blacks versus the Mexicans. That's it, and So, I'm there for like a month or two, start going to court, the process starts happening, and then I get sent to another part of it. It's called Medium North, which I used to like, It had a back door, you could go outside all day, pull-up bars, dip bars, everything. So, I stayed the whole year and some change right there after that, and I was just trying to stay out of shit because there's shit happening there. Jail's jail, So
you have to stay with your people?
Yeah. I was with the homies. That's what I am. So I, came back into that fold, and I was with them. And then I had homies from my neighborhood that I never met, but they were coming in, and I'm like, so what's going on? And everybody's like briefing me, putting me up to date on what's going on in the streets and this and that. And my co-defendant, he's like, Afro, you're going to be all right. He's out. My fugitive brother that was with me all the time. The other one, Stretch got 89 to life at this point.
What?
On his case, he got life.
For the same case?
No, he has a different case. He had his own case, different from ours. He gets 89 to life or life without. I think it was LWAP. Yeah, he was life without. So then, I'm in there. My co-defendant is like, I would get stacks of mail from fans from all over the world would send me mail. Everywhere. Like everybody was writing me, sending me pictures, putting money on my books, putting money on the phone. So I would just be calling people all day long on the phone. That helped me like not hard time it that much, because that like takes your mind out of there, So I would get mail from Amsterdam with pictures of all Amsterdam. And I'd just be like, oh, it's dope. And I'll get pictures from South Korea, Harleys, pit bulls, models, like random people would just write me. And I would write everybody and share my mail with everybody, let everybody read my mail, not my wife's mail, but like all the other mail I got, everybody was reading it. And, it went pretty smooth for me, honestly. And plus I made it a thing to like, there's things that you have to do in there. And I did them because I had to, that's just the way it is. You'll get fucked up if you don't do them, So I had to I had to abide by the rules, so, but I didn't go over. Plus, I came back older now. I was in my 40s, so now, when I left when I was in like late 20s, now I'm coming back and I'm in my 40s, early 40s.
OG.
Yeah, and I was just like, you think different from 20 to 40, and I was just like I said, there's shit you got to do that I didn't like doing, but I would do it because you have to.
So were like the youngsters coming to you for a bit of mentorship?
Nah, they were just, not really. They were just like wanting to hear some stories and and then they tried again with another dude, another informant. So, but this happened at Supermax when I was in Supermax still. He came in and he was acting like he was a fan. And then, but something was weird. I was like, so he kept singing one song. I love all your shit. I'm like, what other song? And he couldn't name no other songs. And he was just like, I knew something was wrong, right? Like right away, like it's mathematic. Like this doesn't add up. And then he would try to ask me about my case. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's a no. Something's fishy right here. And then he was trying to tell me about how he moved in TJ. And I was like, bro, it don't work like that. I was over 15. He's lying. He was lying to me. He was lying to me, and he was trying to lie to me about a place I just came from, where I know it don't work like that. So and then I would be on the phone, and he'd jump on the next phone. But you have to put your PIN number to make a phone call. I'll be like watching him, and he's just talking on the phone to nobody. He didn't put no PIN in, and then he'll be like, "Hey baby, make sure you put the 4-5 that I left in the barbecue grill. Make sure you put it under the house, and then make sure you get the shotgun that I left in the trunk of the car and you put it in the attic." Like you name all these weapons, I don't know if he was just trying to show off, but that was like red flags and red flags and red flags. I'm not staying away from this dude. And then I started noticing that he would be around all the little homies that were young, that were busted for murder, and he'd be over there talking to them, and I'd be wondering, like, I know this motherfucker is asking them about their cases. And this fool, he's a prison baby. He's been in prison, all that since childhood. He's been in the system, but that don't matter. It don't matter. Like there's grimy fools everywhere. So then I go to meet him north. I'm there, whatever. And then now I'm not looking at. I'm just looking at life. And we're going with the process. I stayed in arraignment. I never went to prelim. Arraignment, postpone. Come back in a month. Come back in 2 months. Arraignment. So I would go every month to court and say not guilty. Every court. So then Stuart, I got an attorney visit one day, right? So he comes and he's like, I go out there to the visiting for my attorney visit, and then he's like, I got good news, and shalom. First is shalom, babe. He would tell me shalom. We pound the window, and then he goes, I got bad news. I got good news and bad news. I'm like, hit me with the bad news. What's the bad news? The bad news is they just came at us with a 3-year offer, and I'm like, what? And then I'm like, that's good. That's great news. What do you mean? And I go, well, what's the good news then? The good news is that means that they only have a marginal case at best against you. I could beat this in trial, but you would have to sit in here for another 1.5 years maybe. I'm like, man, I don't want to risk it, Stu. Honestly, I'm going to take those 3 years. I already been in here 1 year and some change. I would do about another 11 months. I'm taking them. Jose, you're not taking them. And I'm like, I'm taking them. Let me talk to my girl, and we're gonna figure this out. So then I call him one day, right? I'm like, Stu, I already talked to Sal, my girl, and we decided we're taking it. You're not taking it. I could get you something better. And I'm like, what? What's better? There's no better. I seen so many, like, I seen this happen. And then he hung up on me. So I get to court. I don't know if it was 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I go to court. But I don't know. I felt something positive because before I went to court, I threw away all my girl's mail, all of it. I threw all her mail in the trash. Although I had stacks, I just left everything there, right? And then I had a gang of under my bunk. I had bags of store. I had about $300 to $500 worth of books because all the fans were sending me books on the occult. I used to love books on the occult, and I would get all these, like, there was this one dude. I had bought his collection. Some Italian dude named Leo Zagami. He had these Illuminati books. It was like a series, and then everybody was like, "Oh man, the books are." They talk about everything, you know, the Pope and you know the usual. And you're in jail, so it's like watching a movie, reading this. And then so I threw all my girl's mail away, and then I threw all her pictures away. I kept one with me. I threw all my personal shit. I had stacks of everything. And then I went to court that day. And every time I would go to court, I would be the first guy because I had a paid attorney. And Stuart was an early bird. So I'll be the first guy in my court tank. Because CCB court, downtown LA court, is a big ass court. There's dudes going like 2,000, 3,000 dudes going to court every day, I think, or something like that. Or I don't know, because I don't know how many guys fit on one bus, but when I would pull in, a gang of buses are pulling in. So imagine 10 Greyhound buses. How much people is that? Nah, it's probably a couple hundred, right?
A lot.
Maybe 1,000. I don't know. So whatever. I go to court. I go to one tank, second tank. Then I get to my real tank. And then I get in there and he's not there. He's already like an hour late. 45 minutes to an hour late. Boom, he comes in. And then they call me that he's coming in. Boom, I get up. Shalom, babe, shalom. And then I'm like, what's up? He goes, you'll be home tonight by 7 p.m. I'm like, what? How? He goes, well, okay, this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna plead you out to voluntary manslaughter. You're gonna get 6 years, but we're gonna give you a joint suspension, a suspended sentence. You're gonna be out on 5 years probation. You gotta be good because anything will trigger you'll have to come back and do 4.5 years or whatever. Finish off the 6-year sentence. If you want to, you'll be home tonight by 7 p.m. You want to sign the deal? I'm like, yeah. You know, by this time, you know, my dad has cancer. Man, a lot of things that happened to me. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I'm on the run, my sister lost 4 babies.
No.
She lost twins 2 times.
No.
Yeah, you know, so, and when I was over there, I'm dying. This is my sister. I love my sister, you know, and I was close with her. I'm over there like losing my mind. I'm like crying because it's my sister and I want to hug my sister, you know? I can't even tell her I love her. I just wanted to call her and be like, hey, you know what? Whatever. I just wanted you to know that I love you. So like, you know, I was happy. I'm like, that I'm gonna go home. And my sister was out there in the crowd, my mom and my sister. And my sister's like, what? She's like tripping out. My mom's kind of like, what? Like kind of crying. And I'm like, my sister's telling like, hey, he's gonna come home today. You know, so like, a lot of shit happened to me like that. I remember that day that happened to my sister. I think I'm weak, you know?
My sister's kid was born with leukemia, and she had chemotherapy, and she was okay for 10 years, but now because she's approaching puberty, it's all kicked in again. So I know how you feel, brother. It's like really traumatic and horrific, and the most horrific thing anyone can go through. As you know, how can that happen to a child? You know, an innocent child. It's yeah.
So that I remember that day that happened to my sister, right? It felt like the day. Okay, I think I missed this when I told you the night that I aired on Fox 11, right? The very next day, I'm in Mexico, down deep in Jalisco, right? And I'm just like walking down the street, and I feel like I'm out of it. I remember I walked into a store and I got like a 6-pack, and I pounded the whole 6-pack like in 5 minutes. And it didn't get me drunk or nothing. I was just like, and when that happened to my sister, I felt like that, like hopeless, like damn. And I remember I had this big gold chain, and I just took it off and I gave it to this lady. I go, here. I just gave it to a random lady on the street. Here's this gold chain. She's like, is it real? Like she didn't believe that why would I do that? Why would I give her a gold chain? You know, for no reason. I don't know. And then. So back to that day, Okay, I get this deal. The judge is like, okay, all parties agree? Yeah, okay, boom. I go underground, under the courthouse, and I pop up in another tank, sign the deal. And then everybody starts going back to the tanks, right? So they're loud. You know how the court tanks, they're loud. Everybody's talking, lying, telling stories. I was rich. I had 10 girlfriends. Everybody's telling their stories, you know? And I'm there and I'm like, crazy, I'm gonna go home today. But I was scared. I'm like, what if they pull something out at the last minute? So I call my boy Jay and I was like, hey, fool, that's it. I signed. I go home today. We're like, woo, shit is on. We're gonna do all this shit we've been planning, this music, shit, this clothing, like we're doing all this shit all the way now. Cool. So then we so little by little, so there was a dude that was in court. He stayed in my dorm. So I told him, look, this is a kite. Take this back over there. And it was like a little fake kite, little no, but it was just saying, this guy, there was a dude that was fighting life. I told him he gets all my pictures. So I had stacks and stacks of pictures. He gets all my pictures. This other dude, he was a reader. He gets all the books. All the food goes to another dude. Like I split everything up. Like they all lifers, all guys that were fighting life. And then there was a guy from my neighborhood in the tank. And in the LA County Journal, they sell like these fake cross trainers. They look like Nike cross trainers. So I would go to court looking fresh, brand new blues, my brand new whites. So my homie we're sitting there. I didn't know him. I met him there. We're talking and I'm like, here, take off that clothes. I'm gonna get you all this brand new shoes. Here, do they fit you? Here, try out. So then they put you, then the tank started getting smaller. Nobody's there. Now I'm alone in the tank. They take me to another tank and it's two dudes, a black dude and an Asian dude, right? But the black and the Asian dude, they're gang members. So the cell's quiet. So, I'm just watching them. We're all watching each other. So it's like there's no tension, but because everybody's going home, but there's still there could be that last moment, like get it in real quick. And these two dudes, right? These two like regular dudes, just regular Mexican dudes. And the dude's like, hey man, he was getting released. You're Conejo, right? Yeah. He goes, man, it's my birthday today and I'm getting out today. You think I could get an autograph? Wherever it is, you're out there, you could verify this for me. It was his birthday. He was getting out of jail and he wanted an autograph. So I gave him a little autograph on his little release paper that he had. And then, so they left. It was now me, the Asian dude. Asian dude had long braids, long hair, G'd up, tattoos all on his arms, He was gangster fool. Black dude leaves. Now it's me and the Asian dude. So we're not talking. We're just looking at we're not looking at each other, but we're aware of each other, They call him out. I'm in there alone for now it's true. Now it's 6:45. And then they finally come and get me. And the paper, the sign out paper to get out is exactly as a parking ticket. And it said 187 on it. And it was like a little ass, the stupidest paper's release paper. They gave it to me. You go through where the buses come in. The gate opened up. And my girl and my sister were there. And I had I had a black paper jumpsuit and black Crocs. That's what you give you. So I walked out. And then we're walking towards the parking structure, whatever. It's like, man, why the fuck is there so many homeless motherfuckers everywhere? Like, LA had changed. I hadn't been in LA. I left 2001, 2002. Now it's 2018. 16 and a half years have passed, So it's different. And the first thing when I get in the car, I'm like, call my daughter. So they FaceTime her, right? And they tell her hey, somebody wants to talk to you. And then I pop up on the screen and she starts crying. And she's like, why are you guys playing with me? She thought I was a cardboard cutout and they were messing with her. And I'm like, nah, it's me, mommy. Yeah, I made it home. And we're both like, and we just we cried. She's my baby, she's my baby girl. So then it was kind of like, it felt good. And I go to my mom's. They had a barbecue ready for me. You know, I eat beans, carne asada, chicken, you know, salsa, tapa, you know, everything, pico de gallo, the whole shit, how we do it, the Mexicans, how we do it up. And then, that's it. I left with my wife. And they were like, my mom's like, what? You're not going to stay here? I'm like, no. Something else happened in my life. I'm gone. You know, I seen my dad. I got to see everybody. And then, so it felt good. I'm home. I'm home now, you know? Then I stayed in another county, but I was on probation in LA County. And I went down and I had the coolest probation officer. Her name was, what was her name? Forgot her name. She was so cool. Mrs. I remember she told me, she said one time, you do you, boo-boo. You do you. I forgot. She was super cool. So one time, I was trying to go to the Bahamas with my girl, right? And I called her for a month and a half. She never picked up on me. And then finally she called me back. She's like, you need to come and see me. So I'm like, what the now? But it was just like a random, like, you got to come and see her, you know? So I went in there and I told her, I went with my girl and I told her, yeah, I was trying to go to the Bahamas. She's like, man, you're in compliance. You should have just left. And I was like, really? And that's when I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm hitting New York, started hitting Chicago. I started hitting like all these cities. Like I started like going everywhere. I've been to Texas. I've been to a lot of places, but now I'm like revisiting these places. And now I'm doing these rap shows here, rap shows there. I'm like running all around, right? And she was just cool with me. And then she kind of like, then I did the movie. I went and did The Tax Collector. And then she would like promote me to other like probation officers. Hey, my guy's an actor or whatever. She never bothered me. She let me get a passport because I wasn't allowed to get a passport. She signed off on it. They got me the passport. Then I was leaving the country. I was just like, you know, she was a blessing. I got her name, but I can't, like, it's there, but I just can't remember. I'm sorry if you're watching this, but you were cool. You were dope. Thank you for everything. And that's it. Like I mean, there's more. I've been going through all kinds of shit, but you know, like I gotta remember sometimes because I forget. Wait a minute. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, your life was hanging from a string. You were in limbo. So I gotta remind myself, no, I'm not in competition with nobody because I feel like almost like I need to catch up because I was watching everybody doing this and these guys were doing that. I feel like I needed to catch up, but then I'm like, nah. I'm in my own lane and I always been like not really part of the, you know, I always been over here doing my shit. So there's nothing that
doesn't get more intense than facing the death penalty. So to go from facing the death penalty
or facing
to
death.
Where you are now.
No, or facing death. I faced death a gang of times over there.
Yeah.
I faced it in LA. I'm telling you, we grew up in that. And I lost a lot of friends, but a lot of people lost their friends too, you know. So we it's like since you're young, you're like entrenched in civil war. You don't know it because it's just normal. Everybody's doing it, everybody's involved in it, that you don't recognize it. You're just part of it. So, you know, you don't
And you credit that skill set with getting you through everything.
In a way, yeah. Then I came back with more skill sets. I came back with more skill sets and then more skill sets. And then now it's just like, I just want to like see the world and travel and, you know, and just like, I don't know, like being taken out of my comfort zone when I was, and then being on the run and I can't be here too long. I got to keep moving and changing and all these things. I think that helped me now because now I don't, like I'm from LA. I represent LA. I'm a LA baby, but I feel like I'm a TJ baby too, you know? And I don't like, some people feel insecure leaving LA. Their world's so little. They're so boxed in this mindset that they don't want to leave. Why? For what? But me, I don't feel like that. I'm like, oh, you know, I just want, like, I'm here. And I said this before, like no matter where I go, like I was in Scotland, right? I was here last time too. I was here in London, Liverpool. I was over there in Scotland and Dublin and Belfast and all this. And everywhere I go, I always scope everything out. And I think like, could I make it here as a fugitive? How would I do it? Well, what would be my angle? Who would I ally myself? Because it's different people. There's a lot of Muslim brothers here. There's a lot of Asian people here. It's a different whole dynamic.
A lot of different accents as well.
Different
you
accents.
go 1 hour and accents completely change.
Yeah, so in Mexico, I'm Mexican. All I got is just get the accent down and I'm straight. You know, but like, so I always think like, okay, could I do it? When I go to Spain? Because I had my brother-in-law had a cousin that was a fugitive in Spain for 10 years from Mexico. Mexico came and got him. and he's back in Spain. Because he got married and has kids there, so he's come back to Spain. But I don't know if there's any questions you want to ask me.
It seems like everything you've been through has made you have a whole new appreciation of life and travel.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're at the best point you've been in your life psychologically?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like everybody. Sometimes, I still, like, I think like I'm never gonna get over it. Whatever I went through, I'm not gonna get over it. I'm always gonna have it in my head, and things I seen and things I participated in or things that happened to me. All these things, they're me. They're always gonna be with me, But at the same time, I'm not that no more, That's already. I just gotta. I forget, Sometimes you have such like we grew up in some like a negative way of thinking that it's just easy to like run with that, And no, this you got a second chance at life, like that. Like I'm not trying to, I didn't come back to LA to be a Dodger fan or wear Laker jersey. I mean, I love those teams, whatever, Lakers, Dodgers, whatever. But I didn't come back for that. Nah, there's, I think my story is like for the youth. It might not give, but it might give somebody some hope. Like maybe 1, 2 kids, that's going through some, because when I was in the county, like. All my little homies were coming in from my hood, but they're young, like early 20s, and I'll be chopping it up with them, and I can't give them no advice. What advice am I gonna give them? I could that's why I always tell me, what advice could you give the youth? I'm like, nothing. I'm just like them. They ain't gonna listen to me. I wouldn't listen to some old ass fool trying to tell me what to do when I was young. But all the only thing I could offer is understanding and comprehension, and that's all I could give. Like I could hear you out. And I could just be like, I hear crazy shit from the little homies. They tell me some crazy shit. I laugh. I'm like, damn. I went through this shit. Like they're going through it. It's their time to shine now. Like I'm not out there on the street like that, so I can't really. I feel like if I was out there, then maybe I could state my opinion to them. Man, well, but I don't feel like I can because that's what I'm saying. Some older dude would tell me that when I was young. I'm like, man, you're not even out here. I'm out here every day. You can't tell me nothing, I
think a lot of people are going to be inspired by this. It's just one big life lesson, your story in itself. But I also think a lot of the viewers are perhaps thinking about what happened to some of the main characters in your story. Okay,
the dude that tried to get me killed with me and my daughter, he ended up getting killed on my birthday. Like a year after I got out. Crazy documented death. And when was it? It was like a year after, maybe 2, I don't know. And my co-defendant, the one that beat the case before me, he ended up getting killed by a DEA informant. Stretch, he ended up dying this past year, a few months ago. He just died a few months ago. He died in his cell in prison. So I mean, my daughter, she's 15 now. I got two little ones, 2 more little ones now.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you. And then, I don't know. Look, I'm here in London to shoot a movie right now. I'm here shooting a movie with Jason Statham and Sylvester Stallone.
Wow.
It's different now, and as much as I love the hood, you know, well, I'm like doing other things now, you know, and the homies that got love for me, they love that. They're proud of it. They're like, you know, it's like if someone could do something, they all could do it. You know, it's like you know how they say, if you make it, we all made it through you. You know, type.
That's it. You're not preaching. You're inspiring.
Yeah. So they come to my shows. You know, when I do shows in LA, a lot of my homies come. You know, and I get to see them, and I get to like reminisce, and they like bring them stories like the other day I did a show with Slick Rick the Ruler in Riverside, right? And two of my friends showed up. One just did 30 years, just got out. And he goes, man, I haven't seen you since 1994 when you robbed that white boy in the LA County Jail. You and my other homie, you guys robbed that white boy and you guys were getting sent to the gang module. And in 94, I didn't even remember that story until he told me. I'm like, oh, yeah, that did happen. Crazy. I remember that. And then I had another friend, I think he did 26 years straight. He just got out the feds. So, like, I get to see homies and chop it up and you know, I don't know. It's just, it's a different time, too. It's a different world. It's not the same world. You know, you can't really do the things that we were doing back then now, you know? Technology and you know, like, I think that, okay, when they ask me, too, what advice would you give the youth? I'm like, I don't know. But what I would like, what happened to me was that an attorney, like, let's just say Nicholas Rosenberg, that's my other attorney. He could, like, someone like him could come to the hood and break down law for us and be like, look, if you do this, you're gonna do about 1.5 years. If you do this, you're gonna do about 4 years. If you do this, you're gonna do a little bit over 10. If you do this, you ain't never gonna come home. And break it down and look, they're gonna use this technique to get this. Like, I think that's like strategy. And you at least become if you're still gonna be a criminal, you be a smarter criminal. Okay, I gotta think this through right, and I could maneuver my way out of it better than I would just do something like, you know, but.
How has the meaning of life changed to you from the young person to now?
I mean, I don't know. It's because when I see my little kids, like.
Family.
I wouldn't want that for them, you know? Mm-hmm. Like now it's like my son got long ass hair. You know, I'm braiding him up. He has long hair. My daughter, Scar, she's like smart as, she's super smart. She's 5 years old, she's smart. She was telling me about the solar system. And then just, I don't know, life's, you know, like, I think that what I'm doing now, I'm just enjoying my journey. I'm just enjoying the journey. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm here. I'm about to have a fight scene with Jason, like, on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know when we're filming that, but you know, like, and I get to, I'm like a people person. I like meeting people and like from different walks of life and chopping it up with them. And like, I could get to see their world through them, you know, and then that makes me like, hey, I want to go see that world or whatever, you know? So,
have you thought about writing a book?
I mean, people have stepped to me. I don't want to write it. Like, I've been asked, you know, and I'm like, well, I want a woman to write my book because I want to like be written from like a woman's perspective, like some loving, like I want whoever, there's a book writer, an author out there that wants to write my book, but you're a vetted writer. I don't want no, you know, person coming out the woodworks. A vetted writer want to write a book about me. Let's do it. You know, I want to. I think people want it. I've been asked that several times, you know?
Yeah.
Or fools are like, fool, you don't want to do it. Do you think there should be a movie about you? I'm like, yeah, but now that I know about movies more, I'm like, they're not coming at me with the right budget. It's going to look bootleg as need the right budget to do a Conejo mini docuseries or whatever, you know, so it looks right. And so fools could enjoy it and like put visuals to some of these, like the interviews I've done, they could put the visuals to it and be like, oh, you know, I get it.
Any
you know,
questions? You want to shout them so we can hear them? Got anything?
Well, I wasn't with. She entered in like the last 6 months before I got arrested. So I was like, I wasn't solo, you know. I dated some chicks over there, but it wasn't like, it couldn't be real because I could never, it's like I was living a like it was I was like James Bond. They can never know who I really was. So how far can I go? It's like you're living a lie. Like they would know me by my fake name. So it's like.
But do you think she helped to save you in a way?
Oh yeah. She's like, man, she's so inspiring. She's such a powerful woman. Like I've never met nobody like that, like her. Like she's just like, she might be a mess without her, because she's like she puts it all together, and I don't know. She's the best.
You're a good
honestly.
team.
Yeah, she's the best. And you know, yeah, I think that's one of the main things. And now it's the kids, and I don't know. I just think the journey, and it's like, you know, life is life. You know,
Yeah.
life is life. There's like little obstacles, and you stumble, and all these things happen. But you know, we just gotta keep moving forward, and I don't know what to say. I'm not like really have advice for people. Just this is my story. That's it. That's all.
Got anything, Parallax?
Nah, I didn't write for shit. Look, this when I was in there, I lost my spirit. I was just like, I didn't feel like, because everybody that would come into the dorm would be like, hey, spit something. And I'm like, nah, I don't feel like that. I'm not. That energy's just off, you know? And then this is crazy because I didn't write nothing. I wrote two. Look, there's a song that I wrote. I turned it into a video. You guys, whoever's watching this, called Semi-Automatic. That was the first rap that I wrote while I was in jail, and that was after like a year. And because on Friday nights, they were in the dorms, they have like it's almost like a party on Friday night, and dudes would like play beats, and fools would rap, sing songs for the whole dorm, like, and everybody always wanted me to rap, so I was just like, I'm gonna put one together. They were always asking me, and I'm always turning everybody down. Let me just spit for them one time, you know. But what happened was I never felt like writing, right? But like around 3 months before I went home, one day I just woke. I didn't know I was gonna go home. First of all, I didn't know. I just woke up one day, and I started writing. And when I came home with like 300 or 400 songs. I forgot what it was. 300 or 400 songs, about like 150 hooks. I was just writing. I dropped 80 albums when I was on the run. So I was inspired by my environment. So I just was like, and then like, every time I would record, I would write an album in one day. I would write 10 songs in one day. And then the next day I would record the whole album in one day. Then I would send it to the engineer. I would edit it. I would edit all, clean it all up. I'll send it to the engineer. They hit me with the master back, and then they'll send it off to LA, and then boom, it'll come out digitally. So when I was doing music, it was still analog, CDs. But sometime in the beginning, when I went on the run, the digital game came in. So that made it easier for me. I took full advantage of it, and it kind of cut off the paper trail. I didn't need CDs. I'm streaming now. And then like, so people, the fans kept me going too, because the people, like the underground culture, what they did, they felt like they were aiding and abetting the federal, like, I got the new Conejo shit. This is the shit. This fool's wild. This fool's dissing every rapper. He's threatening fools. He's you know, so. And then my environment too, you know, when I'm with good people, I'm good. When I'm with wild people, I'm wild, you know. So I think everybody's like that, you know. You rise to your occasion, you know. And I had crazy inspiration over there. And okay, I would do these albums. I didn't know how to do that at first. When I first went on the run, I didn't know how to record an album in one day. That happened one day. I did it. And then it was like, it would be like, man, I might not make it. What if I get raided tonight? I'm going to fucking record a whole album tonight. And boom. And then I would drop it. Some albums, I would be proud. I'm like, ooh, they're going to love this song, whatever, right? And the shit would come out, and people would, like, you know, and then sometimes they would come out, and I'm be like, then I would, like, I think, I'm like, man, I'm f***ing up, man. This is too much. I'm doing too much. They're going to close in on me. I'm doing way too much, you know? But then I get away with another release, and then I forget again. Then I'm a flood. Then I would be like, I'm going to drop 2 albums this month. There was times when I dropped 4 in 1 month, where I was just like, like a machine. Like I was just like recording, and then like dudes were coming up to me, like dudes that I knew that were like in that world, in that life, and they would be like, "Hey, write this in a rap, but don't put my name in it because you might get me in trouble. You know, might get me charged with some shit." So I don't know. That's I don't know if I answered that question or not, but I can't do it now. Now that I'm out. Well, I could do it all the time. If you see, I've been dropping a single once a week again now. But like my last real album that I dropped was called The Reset or The Reset Deluxe. I worked on it for like 2 years. And that was like to me, that's probably like my best work because I used musicians. I did all that. Like I made it like a studio album, you know? And like right now I'm working on an album. It's just like a whole rock album. It's like some Rage Against the Machine type. And, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, even that, like some fools are like, what the f is that fool doing? But the thing is, they don't think like me, you know? And sometimes just regular rap, that shit don't inspire me. Fools could say the most gangster shit. I don't know if it's real or it's just not. I'd rather just do other shit, you know, and you know, my rock is more geopolitical than, yeah, I'm always gonna be a gangster, you know, whatever, or whatever, street cat. So it's gonna have that edge always, but it's more like geopolitical, like what's going on in the world and things, you know, it's like I never cared about elections. You know, in Mexico, elections are super corrupt, and you see it. But then I come back over here, and I'm like, oh, I'm tripping out how everything is, you know. And I'm like, I seen that in Mexico. Just over here, they have a bigger budget, but it's happening, you know. And just everything in the world, you know, like I'm more inspired by that than anything else, you know.
Would you say that suffering, pressure, and being put under intense pressure, hardship, is conducive to art? Some really raw art. I
mean, it happened like that for me. I don't know if it could happen for everybody, but it happened to me like that. Where like, I did several mixtapes. I remember I did this mixtape. Right? It's called The Antichrist, but that's because I had just read Friedrich Nietzsche, and I was like,
oh yeah, I read that.
I'm stupid. Let me just do this. It's gonna fuck with them. They're gonna think I'm satanic, but I'm saying like I'm against the grain. I'm not like you. You guys are trendy. You guys follow whatever's trendy, and you guys try to survive in that world. Me, I do whatever the I want. And then
he called everybody out, didn't he? The church, everybody.
Yeah. So that was had a mixtape called the Antichrist mixtape, and fools loved it to this day. Like I seen it was on eBay, one for $500 or $600, you know. And then I did another one. I did another one called Scarface Dos. Cause I was like, man, you know, Scarface from Rap A Lot, he's always been like one of my favorite rappers, you know. And but I'm like, man, I'm Scarface 2. So my mixtape's called Scarface 2, and then a lot of people love that one because I just used a lot of beats that no one could really flow to, and I you know, I murked them, you know, and like I used the Far Side Run, but my shit was really about running, about, you know, being a fugitive. So all these shits are real, you know. I make them like about real shit, so they can't compare, you know. And I don't know. I love recording music, but now I think I like acting. I like acting better. Not better, but like it's just different, and it's like the next level, you know.
What do you think about rappers going on some of the big platforms like No Jumper and Vlad TV, things like that?
I mean, you know what? I don't even care. I don't know, because No Jumper and them, they reached out to me to go on there, but I'm not really into podcasts. Like, I'm not. This sounds fucked up, like to say I'm not a podcast whore. Because some dudes are just their whole based off of that. Like, let me go on this podcast, on that podcast, and that's how I'll keep my career alive. I don't think I need to do that. Like, fools know my story. My journey speaks for itself, and I want to be selective. You know, like this one is perfect for me. You know, because you could tell I've been chilling. I don't know how many hours been going.
Almost 4
hours. See, that's what I'm saying. So, I'm just like, you know, it's not about like gossip and, you know, it's just about life. It's like just real life, you know, and just it's about my journey.
Yeah, we mostly get people on who've never told a story before.
Yeah.
Get that out there. It's like, But you've really opened your heart and soul to us today, and we really appreciate you spending so much time with us. And for the viewers, who've sat here and watched for almost 4 hours, do you have anything to say to them in conclusion? And where can they follow you on the socials? And
we're gonna put it in the bottom, all the links.
Yeah.
My Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube page, my merchandise. We'll put all the links right there. Because I don't want to say it.
What it is, it goes
better. We'll put it
on the YouTube version. All the links will be there.
Yeah,
but it goes out on various audio platforms where there's nowhere to put links, so they're just hearing it.
Okay,
so
if you go to those other platforms like Spotify, make sure you go to the YouTube after that, and then you'll find me right there. And look out for this movie. It's gonna come out. I mean, it always drops about a year after they film it. It's. I mean, I hope that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys will see me in more movies. For some reason, I play a good villain. I don't know why, but
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, so that's about it. Shout out to everybody out there, because this is a new audience right here. Usually, I've been on the other podcasts, and it's kind of, I did John Bernthal, that was a new audience, and then I did American Cholo, that was like to my core audience, but this one's to a new audience. So I'm glad to meet all of you guys through this format, and hopefully you'll reach out to me, send me a message, I'll get back, or just take it from there. And blessings to everybody. Shout out to London. We're here, love this country, a lot of great people. It's a great city, it's dope. And SK Mob,
much love and respect wherever you are watching this in the world, and give me a hug, brother. Wow, what a journey you've taken us on. Wow, fantastic. Well done. Yep.